Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is your boy Nick from the Shank Club NFL. Sorry for the delayed start. Unfortunately, Pete and I were watching both of our parlay bets or accumulators go up in smoke.
Yep.
Pete, being an Everton fan, nearly lost it at the end, but unfortunately they didn't. So I can't take the mickey, and I was poised to really give it to him, but unfortunately I can't. So you got off with one there, Pete. Pete, how you doing?
All right, mate. My heart is still going from that game, mate. I just couldn't handle the weekend knowing that Jordan Henderson just put one on us. So I'm so glad that goal just got disallowed at the end. So anyway, mate, back to proper football. I'm excited. We've got a few people on. We've got Jason, the main man. He's going to be with us. Matt from UK Bills is coming on. And 2 Feet and Bounds, Carl is joining us as well. So up to you, Nick. Do you want to bring the fellas on straight away and let's talk some football?
Yeah, let's go. Let's bring my main man from Hoboken, Jersey. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Morning, Jason. How you doing, mate? Are the mimosas popping?
No. Just coffee this morning. Coffee. I mean, you guys wanted to talk about last week, and I suggested that we should bring something a little stronger, but I'm just going to try to make do with my coffee.
I think after watching the Niners all day overreaction show, Jason, I think you you need to lay off them, man, because you went from 0 to 100 in
that's my vent time. After that, I flushed the game, and then I become much more rational. So,
I did like your commentary on getting people out of the chat and getting them banned. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I don't get that part. Like, if you win a game, kudos to you. Win the game, go have a drink. But to go to other people's stream to try to talk crazy, that's when you get banned. So that's it. I was just channeling my inner Dre.
Yeah, that's you were Dre, definitely. Okay, we'll come back to you shortly, Jason. Right, up next, we got Matt from the UK Bills. Matt, how you doing?
I'm not too bad. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Very welcome. Looking very chilled there, representing the red, white, and Buffalo Blues. There he is. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
So I'll put that in there then. Where is it there?
Good lad.
Self-promotion.
Well, glad to have you on, Matt. We're going to sort of, once we've got Carl on, we'll jump straight onto the Bills because I'm sure you're massively up for talking about should we say, the demolition of your boys earlier on in the week.
You had to lose one. As long as it's one, that's it. As long as it's not Patriots, I'm happy.
True that.
Just before we bring Carl on, obviously going along the bottom, last week was World Mental Health Day. And the same as it was last week, if anyone is struggling, anyone is suffering due to these uncertain times, Pete's, Jason's, Matt, anyone who comes on this show, their DMs are always open if you need to reach out to somebody. So if you are suffering, don't suffer in silence, guys. With that, let's bring Carl in from 2 Feet in Bounds.
Carl, afternoon, everybody. Yeah, it's not too bad. How is everyone?
Yeah, we're doing good. Thanks, bro. Yes, thanks for coming on again. It was nice to have you on our little sort of Sunday game day the other week. So it's also nice to speak to you sober and not me absolutely mashed drunk.
That was catastrophic between me and my co-host. So I do apologize about that.
It probably was.
Obviously, Mark's just made a comment and he obviously saw Jason on that show last week.
Yeah. No meltdown today, Mark. I'm good. It's out of my system. I'm done. Let's go. I flushed it. It's on. We're on. What's the classic quote? We're on to LA.
We're on to the next.
Oops.
We'll get onto that later because I have a theory about that, and we are going to be going through the Steelers game. We are going to be talking Niners. When Rachel turns up, when we are still waiting for her, she didn't finish till 4 a.m. over in the States. She's an Atlanta fan, and no doubt she'll have some things to say about them as well. So, Pete, let's lead off Matt then. Let's do some Bills.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think we're all kind of quite high on the Bills. I certainly was. And then come down to slump back to earth, Matt. I mean, obviously, you watched the game. I didn't sort of watch the game, but tell us what happened, mate. What was why all of a sudden? Is this just a weird COVID waiting too long to play scenario and let's look nothing into it? Or is this the Bills and Alan doing what Alan normally does?
To be honest, there's no. I wouldn't put down any excuse for that game. We just weren't at the races from the moment that Josh Allen threw that first interception. I know many people are saying that, they don't know whether they're going to play the Titans or the Chiefs this week, so they were game planning for 2 games. At the end of the day, they're all professional. They're getting paid the big money. They should be professional and go and just carry on and focus, take it one game at a time. They knew from about probably Saturday that they were going to face the Titans, barring any mishap. Then the focus should have been on that. I know that people have said that it is the reason Titans had 14, 17 days rest to recuperate, learn a bit more through their meetings and their practices. But at the end of the day, we were just outplayed, outgunned, and we just pick ourselves up and go ahead on Monday.
So we've got to take the Titans seriously now.
Yes, I would actually say so, to be honest. I think everyone obviously had them written down as probably someone that will probably sneak in, but just looking at that, even with who they've had out, they still got that under they've got Jonas Smith and they've got AJ Brown, so they've got those weapons there along with Derek. But it is one of those things. We lost. We couldn't live with them. Made a few mistakes, but that's the end of the day. That's football. You can't predict anything.
Yeah,
Tennessee
Josh
and
Norman is still hurting from being put in a clown suit as well.
I was waiting for someone to bring something up.
I've seen some brilliant memes of that, I have to say, and he really did a number. Kind of like what Juicecheck did to your boy Fitzpatrick last year, but on a better scale, methinks, Pete.
Yeah, whatever.
Were you actually a Pittsburgh fan by then? I can't remember because you change your clubs quite regularly.
Someone mute him. I've never changed clubs. I've only ever supported one NFL team, and you know it.
It's all right. I'll dig out you in the Niners.
Wearing jerseys and T-shirts don't count as actually being a fan and a supporter.
Yeah, okay. All right. So everyone here that's got colours on, they're not actually a fan or a supporter. They're just wearing them because they look cool, right?
Don't make me come over there.
Just saying. So yeah, I mean, I to be honest, I did think it was an unfair advantage, slightly for the Titans having that time off. We all saw the pictures of them practicing in that park and all that jazz. I do think it was a disadvantage to the Bills. If the Bills would have been in the same position, would it have been the same? Who knows? Obviously, we can't.
How can you say it's a disadvantage? How can you say it's a disadvantage to the Bills when the Bills were actually able to train and the Titans weren't? I mean, I can't see how that's a disadvantage. I mean, it's weird
because they had all that.
You have to have
had all that rest.
Yeah, but you have to have some give and take.
Yeah,
you have to.
Exactly.
It's some give and take.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the other thing is I don't want to discount the loss of Tre'Davious White in this game because it was clear that Ryan Tannehill wanted to go right after Josh Norman. You know, it was like, and right away he went right to him with AJ Brown. So, I honestly, for the Bills, this feels just more like a blip on the radar. You know, just a weird game. And I think the Titans have kind of like put themselves in this space where they're making themselves unlikable. Because I don't know if you guys saw after the game where, you know, Taylor Lewan is like, oh, they hate us, blah, blah, blah. No, we don't hate you. We hate you because you put the NFL season at risk by being an idiot. Don't turn that into some me against the world stuff. You know, like it just goes to show that team is a bit tone deaf when it comes to what exactly they did. And Tennessee had a hard plan when it came to COVID anyway. They were trying to have an entire crowd within 3 weeks. So, you know, and then the worst part about it is, and I don't want to get too far away from football, is if Taylor Lewan says all those things about us against the world, the mayor of Tennessee just passed away from COVID. That's how insensitive and tone deaf you are by saying that. So, you know, I think that what helped them is that they really, really rallied around, okay, the whole world is mad at us, but we're not mad at you because you did something stupid. we're mad at you because you really put the NFL season in a risk, in a bind. And they took that and they ran it. This is just a blip for the Bills. The Bills are going to be fine. You know, no Smokey Brown, no Tre'Davious White. Like, you know, the Tre'Davious White is the top 2 cover corner in this league. That's not something that's like, well, White didn't play, you know, so it's fine. And we have to also remember the Titans made the AFC Championship last year. So, you know, it's not like this team is coming out of nowhere.
Absolutely. They run the Chiefs close as well.
Right.
I think also it was the loss we had of Matt Milano as our linebacker. He's probably one of our best coverage linebackers, and with him in there, him and Edmonds work a great pair together. And you've got someone in Milano who can cover the tight end and play that coverage. So if we had him, who knows? They may have taken off a few more of the Jonah Smith yardage and threw a bit more pressure. But yeah, the Trey White, that was probably the most loss. Still had faith that Norman could do something. He's well known in McDermott's defense, but at the end of the day, it's up front that didn't do it for us. To be honest, I mean, we've been poor in front 4, and hopefully with the Chiefs coming up, we've got to change that, and that's something that McDermott and Fraser really need to hammer in this next or this week and for going forward.
And a bit of breaking news that just came across about the Bills. Dawson Knox is not going to play against the Chiefs. He's just been ruled out.
That's right. He drops a load of passes anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you know, I mean, as long as you have Smokey Brown back, and you have, I think that the Bills really kind of took the smart approach. It's like, okay, do we use Tre'Davious White this week, or do we use him in the week that we really need him this week, which is trying to cover these receivers? So the Bills are going to be fine. That game's going to be way closer than anybody thinks. So
it's quite interesting that Jason, I'm sure Nick and Jason will probably want to get into cornerback speaks later on the show when we start talking about Dolphins.
We can wait, Pete.
Talking about missing corners and that.
Nah, we can wait, Pete.
We're missing an entire defense. It's not just about our 7th and 8th corner. Trust me. Also, just very quickly, Matt, before we get into other things, the Bills Mafia, right? They're famous for diving through tables. Is that right?
It is, yes.
Have you seen Pete's pathetic attempt at falling off a table that I keep putting out?
I have.
What do you reckon? Matt? You reckon he'd get in the Bills Mafia for that pathetic attempt?
If I could give a minus score, I'd give a minus score for that.
If anyone hasn't seen it, I will tweet it out again just for everyone's delectation.
I'll even opinion. I'll even retweet it out to the whole build, to all my followers and all that, and actually get their reaction on there, and see if we can score it for them.
I think you should actually send it to the Buffalo Bills as a Bills Mafia table fail, actually, and see if we can make Pete go viral. Unfortunately, my singing does spoil the clip, but we were pretty wasted, and he shouldn't have got on a table in front of me just to be pushed off it.
Well, I've got links to the head of the Bills Mafia, the one that set up the movement. So I'll send him it and see what he actually what he has to say.
Yeah, I could imagine the second one would be off the word. I don't know what the first one.
Well, let's get back onto football, because obviously the Bills have got a nice easy game to follow up that 40 burger against the Tennessee Titans. You get to play the Super Bowl champs.
Yes.
So that's really nice. So one of the two boys are gonna be having back-to-back defeats. Is it going to be the Bills or is it going to be the Chiefs?
To be honest, it will be a close one. I think Las Vegas, really set the tone with their game plan that they had against the Chiefs. They attacked them down the middle. They actually they only rushed 3 and didn't blitz that much, and obviously had that spy in the second half. So most of their plays actually came from coverage. I think with Mahomes and what he can do, both through the air and on the ground, I think they've set the blueprint, and I'm just hoping that the whole of the NFL have actually taken note.
Yeah, they played a lot of mixed coverage. They did, the Raiders. They played a lot of mixed coverage. That is a blueprint to stop the Chiefs, and New England did exactly the sort of same thing as well in week 4, but there was no offense for them at the time. But the Raiders put on an absolute clinic in how to stop them and also how to put points on them. Because I've been saying this for the last couple of years now. Their defense isn't good. It isn't very good. You can throw Honey Badger and Frank Clark into the mix, but that's two dudes. Everybody else has to contribute. They contribute a lot of takeaways, but they don't contribute on defense overall.
Yeah.
I think the thing is too is that, you know, the blueprint for beating the Chiefs, and, you know, I hate to make it about us, right? We did it for 3 quarters and then we couldn't do it in the 4th, right? You know, is you really have to just get pressure, right, and get going on there. And with their defense, it's really a matter of not making sure that Chris Jones isn't blowing up your game in the middle of the line, and then Frank Clark's coming off the edge and things like that. So you just have to keep putting pressure on them. The issue is that it's hard for the entire game for 60 minutes to keep them down. The levee eventually breaks, right? Like it's just too much to try to control all the time because Mahomes makes these unreal throws, and it's just hard. It's very hard to do for 60 minutes, man. That's why so few teams have been able to accomplish it.
Yeah.
Coming over, obviously, from Jersey there, Jace. What's the news about my old man Lev Bell going to be at the Chiefs?
So he's not playing this week. He won't be able to get into the building this week. But next week, you know, it looks like he'll be in play. It's just the rich get richer, man. I really have to ask the question: is the salary cap even real? Because you know, they said $32 before they signed Mahomes to a $500 million deal. You know, they block in Chris Jones. You know, like, is the salary cap even real? Like, at this point, like, how much money does this team have? Like, what are they doing? So it really feels a little bit like the Warriors, almost like adding more players from basketball, just adding more players to their team, and it's just going to make them tougher to stop. I love Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but it's clear that this organization is telling you how they feel about him at the goal line, and Le'Veon Bell can add that dimension to that for them. He's a great runner. He can catch passes, but he's got I think it's 10 to 15 carries within the 5 with no touchdowns and
minus yardage. He also had, I think it's -7 of yardage in the red zone. So I think it just proves that Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he can get you down the length of the field. As soon as he hits the red zone, he hits a brick wall. Yep. And maybe that's what Le'Veon Bell is going to be there to do. He's going to be the one just to finally punch it in there.
For sure.
Because one thing Kansas City always do, they're a very, very pass-heavy offense. Andy Reid's got the same sort of problem as, sorry to say this, Pete, but it's the same as Mike Tomlin. They can't manage a game clock to save their life. So I suppose now you throw Le'Veon Bell into the mix. Now you can chew up some of that game clock, as well as trying to pass with Mahomes and that flurry of weapons that he has, which is just ridiculous.
Exactly, and that is the thing. They've got all these weapons, and I'm slightly concerned that when Lev Bell went to the Jets, he was a big personality, and the Steelers never wanted to sort of get rid of him to a rival. And it was like, you can go and we'll do a trade with the Jets. And is he sitting there sulking and just not doing what he wants to do because he wants to sort of go and play for a big team? He's got his move now. Could be scary things. It could be a completely different player, Lev Bell, over at Kansas, and that's. And obviously, what's the other dude that they've got that obviously sort of signed off for COVID? Is it Williams? Is it? Obviously, then he's going to be back next season as well. So
yeah, Damian Williams will be back. The other thing is I wouldn't read too much into the Jets. You know who their coach is. He's awful. He has no idea what he's doing.
Well, exactly. Yeah. So, when you've got dudes that want to win now and they're playing at a team that sucks, they're only going to lift their game when they go somewhere that's winning for sure.
For sure. Also, don't discount Le'Veon Bell's petty factor. The 3 teams that he was actually narrowing it down to all play the Jets in the next 3 weeks. So don't discount that he looked at the Chiefs, the Dolphins, and the other team that was going to be facing the Jets and said, I want to get my revenge on them. Revenge is a big factor.
Yeah, it was the Bills. The
Bills. I didn't want it to happen because I have Singletary on too many of my teams. I was like, oh, come on, please don't do this to me. But yeah.
He's still looking good for the AFC East title there, though, Matt. I mean, you still got to be sort of pretty happy with what you guys have been doing so far. Obviously, before the Tennessee game, your boys were looking really good, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, our offense is now swimming. It's actually so good. But obviously, now we've got Diggs, and for what we got him for, it's turned into pretty much a bargain now. I mean, everyone said that he was a diva the way he left Minnesota and all that, but you see the tweets from him, you see the tweets from the Bills and all the players, and he's actually as happy as Larry. in the offense. He's happy. He actually is a team player. I think it was, I can't remember what game it was, either week 3 or week 4. He was actually telling the ball to actually get the ball to Brown and Beasley more. Just sacrificing his own game, and still he's the second leading receiver so far in this season. So
Yeah.
it's the offense they've actually put together now is probably one of the most exciting ones we've had in donkey's years, to be honest. And as long as we can keep at least a game, maybe 2 games ahead of the Patriots, I think it's all to play for, and it's definitely the Bills division to lose this year.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually think that at this minute in time, it is the Bills to lose. But I've gone. But your results so far, you're 4-1 right now. Your wins so far have been against the Jets, Dolphins, Rams, and the Raiders. No disrespect to the Jets. Well, actually, disrespect to the Jets. And no disrespect to the Dolphins. Yeah, let's be fair. The shit. And the Las Vegas Raiders. They are. They're so teams. The only real team you've come up against, apart from your loss to Tennessee, was against the Rams, and you almost done a Super Bowl 51 on yourself, choking away a 25-point lead.
Yeah,
and
really bad PR call as well.
He did have that interception.
Interception. I like it when you see.
No, I agree. With the teams we've played, they haven't been that good. I mean, the Raiders.
I agree with Burner down there though. Rams and Raiders are legit.
Yeah, well, no, the Raiders actually they did well against Kansas. They rode us well on when we played them. I think really the Rams and the Raiders were the toughest ones we've had. Dolphins, they've now started to come alive a bit more with what they actually get. But yeah, bar the mishap we had with the Jets where we let them score about 17, 20 points or something like that. I think we've faced a really good set, and we've got the Cardinals, we've got the Seahawks, we've got the Patriots, and obviously the Chiefs coming up. So
yeah, this next 4 or 5 games are going to be okay. Screw the Jets. Then the next 4 or 5 games is going to be your tough stretch. It will just show you. If you actually beat Kansas City or you beat Seattle, I will actually then take note then for, this team is legit. This team go for. But if you lose to KC and you lose to Seattle, I'll be like,
big 3 weeks for a few things.
It's still early days yet to even put the Patriots out of the picture. It's still early days yet.
I think it's with us. It's now trying to get that defense back up and running, because last year we were one of the top 5 defenses on there. Now we're struggling in the 20s, maybe a bit low in the 25 to 32 range on there. That's something that I think the Bills need to work on.
I saw something on my fantasy outlook. Someone had dropped the Bills defense. They're actually ranked 26th. I found quite bemusing, but
I think that's something that we've really got to work on going forward, because it seems like since McDermott being come on, they focused on the defense, then they started switching to the offense and almost forgot the defense again. I think we're so close to getting that defense to how we want. I think we just need another cornerback to go opposite Trey White, and maybe another pass rusher to eventually spell the end or see out Jerry Hughes' rest of this contract with us. I think those really are the 2 main pieces I probably identify as something that just gets the Bills over it and actually starts to get them a bit more dominant and actually constantly being up there in the top 15, top 10, top 5 on both offense and defense. Because I think the way we're working now with the offense, maybe we need a new guard, maybe a new right tackle and all that. The pieces are there, the coaching and the work ethos and all that is there to actually make a run and actually start building on this this current season. It's just now a case of meshing it together, and obviously the lack of other camps other than training camp this year hurts not just us but other teams. But I think it's something that it's being worked on, and I feel that if we can get that right in the off season, I think next year is really the year that we will actually push on a lot more than we will do whatever our record is this year.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So Our latest guest, Rachel, is waiting in the background and waiting to come on. So before we bring her on, let's just quickly go around the horn on the Bills-Chiefs game. Nick, what are you saying?
I think the Chiefs bounced back from last week, as much as I hate to say it, Matt. And
It's fine.
if they, I don't see them. I think it'd be a close game, but yeah, it is a coin flip. But I think if I'm honest, KC by 7.
Yeah, big shout. Carl, what are you going for?
Difficult one for me, because watching these two teams play is like, do I want tripe or do I want faggots for tea tonight? I don't like either of them. I'm a Patriots fan. I don't like the Bills. I don't like the fucking Chiefs, period.
Hold it together, Carl.
You can do it.
Go on, you can say one of them.
We
You
have
can
to
say
win
a
it.
tie.
We have to win the division, so I'm going Chiefs.
Mimosa, what are you calling?
I got the Chiefs. It's just very hard for me to see the Chiefs losing back-to-back games. I think they'll understand what they did wrong this week. They'll fix it. They'll correct it. Andy Reid and Bieniemy are going to give them a great game plan. If this Bills defense is struggling to hold the Titans under, they had 40. They dropped 40 on them. Even the Rams came in and they put up a bunch of points on them too. It's just, I suspect that the Bills are going to play much better than last week, because that was shocking to see as how bad they did play. So the game will be close, but in the end, it's going to be the Chiefs again. It's hard for 60 minutes to guard those guys, man.
Yeah, for sure. Matt, you picking your boys?
I've got to pick my boys. No, it's going to be fun. I mean, looking at the injury report, we've got White back, we've got Milano back. We know that it's going to be tough. And as I say, we just got to hopefully follow the blueprint of the Raiders. I mean, the second half they held the ball for like 21 minutes in that second half, and the Chiefs only scored 8 points off of that. So there is a blueprint. There's going to be there's going to be one score game, but it's going to be for me it's going to be a Bills win.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs on this one. Sorry, Matt, but
so does that mean we have a lone wolf situation?
Yeah,
I was about to say that.
We do.
Go on, Matt.
Lone wolf it.
I'll lone wolf it all the time. It'll just be next Tuesday or Tuesday, the next episode, I'll come on and say, yeah, you guys were all wrong. Bills for the win.
You got to do the howl.
Got to do
You got to howl. You got to do lone wolf howl. There it is. That sounded more like my dog at 3:00 in the morning that she's named just down beside me. That was a pretty pathetic wolf.
Waiting very patiently in the background is a guest that I've been trying to sort of get on for a little while. It's going to make the room a lot prettier and also a lot smarter. It's Rachel OJ, co-host of the Houston show and co-host of the Pickwise NFL show on YouTube. Let's bring Rachel on. Rachel, good to have you on. I know you haven't got much sleep and you've been working hard, so we very much appreciate you coming on. How are you doing?
You're on mute, Rachel.
You're on mute.
Unmute yourself.
Let's see if we can do it. There we go. There we go.
There you go.
What's up? How are you guys?
Yeah, we're doing okay. We're probably doing a lot better than what you are, considering you've been working all evening and now you're up early to come and hang out with 5 douchebags.
Oh no, it's great. I love hanging out with douchebags, first of all. Second of all, it's not every day that people in England ask me to come on their show, so I would have missed this for the world. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, that's cool. Obviously, Jason, he's over in Jersey, so he is on your side of the pond.
I kind of heard the accent there. I saw the 49ers shirt, but then I heard you talking, and I was like, that doesn't sound like a California accent at all. What's up, Jason?
I'm good. Very nice to meet you, Rachel. And yeah, I mean, I was 8 years old when I found out I was a douchebag.
Yeah, it happens to all of us. Happens to all of us.
Yeah. So obviously, Rach, you are you actually based in Houston? I'm guessing.
Yes, I am. Right here, almost downtown. Dead smack.
And are you a Georgia girl or are you yeah?
Yes, I'm sadly an Atlanta Falcons fan. It's a very, very painful life that I live. I lived in Georgia growing up for about, 3 or 4 years. And so like the first baseball game, the first football game, the first professional sporting events that I ever went to were in Georgia. And so I just kind of by de facto became a fan.
And you've been suffering ever since.
Suffering ever since. Yeah, it's a really, you know what though, here in Houston, my hometown is born and raised here. It's not any better here, to be honest with you. I mean, other than maybe the Astros, but then they win a championship and then you find out that they cheated to get it. So there's really, I can't get a break anywhere.
No, indeed. And from what I can sort of make out as well, is that you are sort of multi-talented. It's not just football, you're sort of multi-sports, and you sort of seem to concentrate a bit more on sort of odds and sort of gambling and betting. Do you want to sort of tell that the UK nation what it is that you sort of specialise in and where people can find you?
Absolutely. So I was kind of just a degenerate before I got into the gambling side of it. I've just been covering sports as it is since college. But then, you know, I would always post online and stuff, kind of my picks, or if I did really good on a parlay, I would, you know, screenshot it and post it, whatnot. And I just kind of got more and more of like a gambling following. And then I got hit up by these people from Pickswise and they were like, hey, we're interested in working with you, blah, blah. Next thing you know, I'm doing a show with Jeff Reinbold for them on YouTube. And now I'm gambling for a living, which is pretty cool. It's a blessing and a curse all at the same time. But yeah, it just comes from a passion of loving sports and thinking that I'm smarter than Vegas, which usually I'm not. But but yeah, that's what we do with Jeff, and it's a really, really fun time.
Yeah, Jeff's a good guy. Jeff's a friend of the show here, and I think Nick's hoping to get a show later on this evening with him as well. But he is a real great guy. He sort of will give a lot of his time to people like us, and obviously sort of people like yourself. So we've got a lot of time for Jeff, and I'm sure you have as well. I mean, perhaps we can sort of maybe sort of fall straight into maybe sort of talking some Falcons football. Obviously, it's been a big week with the coach being sort of kicked out, and obviously the general manager as well. So very surprising that they've sort of brought the defensive coach with you guys suffering on defense, and he's now the interim coach. Is that a good call, or is that pretty much all that you guys have got to be able to sort of bring in?
Yeah, it is. You know, that's a really good point you brought up. It is kind of surprising that the weakest position of the team, the guy that's at the forefront of that, did become the head coach interim. But here's the thing about the Falcons. I wouldn't be sad if they didn't win another game this season. In fact, I'm rooting for them not to win another game this season. And maybe, just maybe, I know this isn't true, but I'd like to believe that maybe that's why Arthur Blank made Morris the head coach of the team. He doesn't really have a lot of success in his past as being a head coach. And, you know, I don't know why you would promote him over Dirk Kotter, but I guess Dirk Kotter, the offensive coordinator, it really couldn't get any worse. So I don't know. It's just been it's been a crap show this entire season. And I truly believe that other than Matt Ryan, you know, a lot of people keep talking about trading Matt Ryan or cutting Matt Ryan, blah, blah. Matt Ryan gets cut. He's like a $40 million cap hit next year. Like, that's insane. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And I don't know who the hell would pick up his contract. He's one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. At his age, I want to say he's 34, 35 years old, somewhere around there. At his age and everything, and as many hits as he's been taking, especially in the past 2 years, I don't know who the hell would trade for him. I think Matt, though, I think he still has a lot of gas left in the tank.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, the first 3 weeks of the season this year, I mean, they were still losing games, obviously, but he's putting up some games like almost 500 yards, if not over 500 yards in a game. Touchdown interception ratios, very, very good. And I would love to see this team, hopefully, maybe if they suck bad enough and they suck as bad as I think they will, maybe they'll have a top 2, top 3 pick and they can go out and get a stellar young quarterback to maybe sit behind Matt Ryan for the next year or two with a good new head coach, good new general manager, and maybe we can make something happen in Atlanta.
Thing is, if they did cut him, Rachel, and the mockery of what Kansas City are doing with the salary cap, he'd probably back up Mahomes and they wouldn't even worry about it.
You guys don't even need to worry. Are you a Chiefs fan?
Who, me?
Uh-huh.
Wow, that's
Oh,
that's a
okay.
slur. That's a bad slur.
Nothing
Yeah.
but Niners.
Gotcha. No, I could never. I don't think that the Chiefs are going to put that sort of monetary effort into a backup for Pat Mahomes, who like never gets injured, and when he does, it's only for like a week or two. Can't see that happening. I just can't. But you know what? Stranger things have happened, and it's 2020. It's a weird year. Wouldn't be surprised for anything.
I mean, I'll be shocked. I mean, if they did something with Matt Ryan, the offense isn't the problem there at Atlanta. It's obviously, it was the dressing room, it was the coaches, it's the defense. And if they can sort that out, then I still think they can have a pretty reasonable sort of end to the season. I mean, it's been catastrophic so far, but I mean, it can't get any worse. I've got a feeling you're still going to sort of squeak out 5-6 wins, but who knows?
I hope not.
Even an amateur like me can see that the problem isn't Matt Ryan. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dang, you wouldn't believe how many people, especially people in Atlanta, slander Matt Ryan and act like he's the problem. And I just don't understand it. I'm like, are you even watching the games? I mean, with the exception of like the Green Bay game, right, where he didn't throw a touchdown pass, he still did things, made some big passes in that game. He threw a block right there in the end zone. Like the quarterback blocked somebody on the Packers to let Todd Gurley run in for a touchdown. Like he's throwing it all out there. And I don't understand anybody who thinks that Matt Ryan's the problem, but I digress. There are lots of people who want him traded and it just, whatever. But I see we have a lot of 49ers fans, right? So there's a lot.
Too many Niner fans on this show.
There's
Makes a change.
Yeah, there's like people are saying perhaps, with Jimmy G getting benched last week, perhaps you respark the love connection there with Shanahan and Matt Ryan. And Matt Ryan did have an MVP season and go to a Super Bowl under him and had like one of the best performances ever in a Super Bowl.
Jason, do you want to go with this one or do you want me to answer it?
It's been a strange week in 49ers land, especially on Twitter. This week was really, really strange just because of, how everything played out. So it's like, okay, we're forcing Jimmy G to be out there. Okay, cool. We obviously know that Nick Mullins is just a spot starter, right? And I think that I'm glad that we kind of put to bed the whole idea of, hey, we can move off of Jimmy G for Nick Mullins because you can't. Because obviously this offensive line can't block my daughter at this point right now. So it's like, Jimmy G, Joe Montana, Jesus himself, doesn't really matter who's the quarterback behind this line, right? There's far bigger issues. But the thing is this is always going to be speculation, right? So the reason that all this has happened is because the 49ers have openly admitted to flirting with Tom Brady. And I've got a little bit of insider news that deal was done. The only reason that Tom Brady never ended up as a 49er was because he did not agree to restructure his deal. Belichick was going to take Garoppolo back, and we were going to take Tom Brady. So when you do that and you openly admit that you're flirting with Tom Brady, it opens the door for these discussions for anybody. It's not just Matt Ryan that they're talking about replacing Jimmy G. It's Kirk Cousins. It's Dak Prescott. It's Matt Stafford. So the problem is that when things are going bad, the fan base tends to go crazy even more. So when things were going good, people were saying crazy stuff. Imagine what's going on right now. So I think that it's really dumb at this point to speculate on who could be taking over whoever's spot when there's so many other issues going on with this team. There's something weird going on in that building right now with the coaching staff and the way that guys are not being allowed to play. They're in Shanahan's doghouse. It's like Kyle Shanahan is like that girl who's very pretty, but is being told that she's gorgeous, and now it's gone to her head. And now she's just continuously like, I'm the most gorgeous. That's it. You guys can't tell me anything. It's almost like Kyle Shanahan has to dial it back a little bit, look at this team and fix it. And I don't know if bringing in Matt Ryan is the end-all, cure-all. Is Matt Ryan better than Jimmy G? For sure. But is Matt Ryan the answer? No, because, again, with that offensive line, he can't move. He's going to die behind that line. So it's really weird, honestly. All that speculation I kind of leave to the side. My forte is really just breaking down the film and what happened. That's it. All that other stuff, I really can't comment. But, it doesn't really take a genius to think that could happen because Matt Ryan and Kyle Shanahan have that connection. But I'm just not certain that that's what's going to fix everything. Can Matt Ryan play corner? Can he play? Can he play? You know, line? Can he play line?
You can probably play a lot better than the kid that started for you guys.
You know what though? I don't want to pile on. I don't want to pile on Brian Allen though. He should have never been in that position, and I blame Kyle Shanahan for that. That's not right. You saw him playing. The kid never took a snap as a cornerback in this league. Was a practice squad special teams guy, and you decided this was the week in a must-win game. I hate to say it, a must-win game against the Miami Dolphins. You decided this was the week that you're going to leave him on an island like he's Tre'Davious White or Marcus Lattimore to guard Devontae Parker and Preston Williams. Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing Where's Waldo? Where is he? Go, throw to him. It's so sad. It really is. That's on the coaching. So there's something funky going on with the coaching. Fix it in the building first before you start to look for replacements, because the culture is kind of look.
Jimmy G's still the future there, surely, Jace. Because I mean, like you said, you know, the offensive line wasn't sort of protecting the QB. He was already had an ankle injury. He wanted to sort of put him out. Yeah, this is the dude that took you to the Super Bowl last year, for Christ's sake. I mean, you've got to give this guy a little bit more respect.
I think there's a disconnect on who took who to the Super Bowl.
It was the running game and the defense.
And I think Nick Bosa is the most important person on this team, clearly, hands down. And I think that the air fell out of this team as soon as Nick Bosa left. That's it. Without Nick Bosa, this defense goes to ordinary. It goes back to 2018 when DeForest Buckner was leading it. So I don't know if Jimmy G led us, but Jimmy G was the quarterback of the team.
Yeah, fair play.
Solomon also went out the same game as
but Solomon Thomas was on a thread, right? Nick, tell him. You know, like this was his 5th year.
He was walking a very fine line, and this was his season that he had
to do something. Yeah,
had to do something. And
for sure.
To be fair, he really wasn't. But
yeah, he was fine. You know, it's just he's a rotational guy. He's not an impact player, right? Like that's not what Solomon Thomas is. Unfortunately, and we've talked about it on here, guys become victim of their own draft capital. Solomon Thomas didn't draft himself 3rd, so it's not his fault that everybody thinks that he should be producing like a 3rd pick. You know, that's the thing. So it's like, you know, John Lynch kind of just talked to one of his Stanford buddies, and they said Solomon Thomas is really good, and he was like, "Oh, cool, let's just draft him instead of getting Pat Mahomes, Deshaun Watson." Yeah, sorry.
The list goes on.
I was going to say, as per usual, it ends up talking about the Niners, but we've got to blame.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We've got to blame Rachel for sort of throwing.
I love it. I love it.
Rachel.
You guys were
we talk Niners all the time on here because it really gets Pete pissed.
Well, do you know what was really interesting, Nick? We were just talking about Tom Brady maybe going to the Niners, but then finally the GOAT would have actually been at the Niners, right?
Yeah, but then again, if Tom Brady's back there with that offensive line,
he's getting killed.
It's not gonna change anything. The last thing I'll say, this league is transforming, and what I mean by that is you need not a running quarterback, you need a mobile quarterback. You need someone who can escape the pressure. We just watched Justin Herbert, right? Rookie. The kid lost his game against the Saints, but he was throwing lasers outside of the pocket, down the field. That's where this league is going. The college football does not develop linemen anymore. Doesn't happen. It's not the way that they play their games. If you watch any sort of college football game, it's all guys who can move the pocket, who can make plays off schedule. The time of the statue standing quarterback in the pocket is over.
Almost, because Big Ben is still playing.
Pete, it's over, Pete. It's over. You got maybe one more year of Ben Roethlisberger, and hopefully he makes it.
It's over. Still living and breathing, and I think you'll find that come the end of the season, we'll rewind this and be like, see, statues are still relevant, Jace.
Not a chance, Pete.
Still relevant.
Look,
the Statue of Liberty is still standing.
Last week. An ugly
little dink and dunk QBs, mate, are all done. Roethlisberger is nothing more than a game manager now.
I'm with you.
The glory days of the 50-yard bomb, forget about it. I'm telling you now, Pete, game manager will not get you to the promised land, and that is what Big Ben is now. I told you that last week. He is just a game manager.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we saw Denver Broncos win the Super Bowl on defense when Peyton Manning was throwing ducks out there. So we'll see.
But he wasn't a game manager, Pete. That's the difference.
He was a non-factor in that Super Bowl.
He was
non-factor.
but that's an elite defense though, and that's the other thing that you know. So
Team
like,
that wins the Super Bowl, not a quarterback.
But
And if Cam Newton
unfortunately, it won't be
selfish and
Pittsburgh.
dived on the
this
ball,
year.
they would have another chance.
Yeah. I knew it wouldn't take
Just
him
throw
long.
that in there.
Well done, Ivan. See, now these are the comments we like. Ivan is obviously dialed in totally.
I got to be
Big
honest.
Ben won't survive Myles Garrett tomorrow.
I hope
course.
I hope Pete is prepared to eat crone next week when he comes on if the Browns do the unthinkable.
I don't know if it's as unthinkable as we think it is.
I
Though.
don't think,
Honestly,
I don't
it's
think
not
it will be much of a
It's not
shock.
crazy. It's not. And look, and this is coming from a guy who flip-flopped on Baker, right? I loved him rookie year, watched him play this year, and I'm like, last year, and I'm like, Kevin Stefanski has righted that ship. They look great, man. Like they're back to doing what they want to do, is running the ball, putting Baker in play action. Like they're and you know, as long as you can rush the passer, rushing the passer covers up everything else on the defensive side that you have. Everything else. And Myles Garrett is elite. Elite. It's not even a question.
He's great at whacking QBs around the head with his helmet as well.
Right.
Which is
I
good.
was wondering, I know she sort of, I haven't prepared you for this, but I don't know if Rachel sort of got any odds or anything like that on the Steelers-Browns game, what the swing is, and then possibly explain to me when people say the swing and stuff like this, because it just baffles me. I
The
have no
spread,
idea.
you mean?
Swing,
Oh, really?
spread,
Spread. It's called a spread, yeah.
I
Yeah,
read
you're
that.
not an avid gambler?
Only
He's
with-
a very bad gambler, Rachel. That's
I
his
like
problem.
friendly
Bad
bets
one?
with my buddies, and that's about it. I'm
Okay.
used to
I
it.
always-
He loves-
I always do a couple of bets every weekend on the NFL. I'm sure I told Pete and I've forgotten who your name is now. That,
Charming.
thanks, sorry. That when I went
Carry
to go
on,
watch,
carry on, Carol. I mean, Carl. Sorry.
I went to Twickenham to go watch Cardinals Rams game when it was in London, and I had a 14-fold accumulator going. And I got back to the service station at Fleet, and as I was scrolling through my Akka, it was like it's in, that's not. Everything went in. The only game that screwed me up was the game I actually went to go and watch.
Oh
I
no.
cheered on the Cardinals instead of the Rams, and the Rams shut them out. And that cost me from a £5 bet. It would have got me £400.
Wow.
That's $516.
wow.
What is a pound? Do you you may not know this, I don't know, but what is like a pound compared to the American dollar? I'm trying to get an idea of what 400 pounds is.
It's probably
like nowadays.
Is that a lot?
it's less. Yeah, £400 on an accumulator. If it's 16 teams possible or 16 games, I've got one running for tomorrow with all of the games except for one. So I don't know, is it 14? I don't know, but I've got £2 British and I could win 178 if they all come in, which they probably won't. So
You've backed the Browns to beat the Steelers, so you might as well.
of course I've also got the Niners to beat the Rams.
Nick.
But you've got to do it.
Nick.
We'll come, Jason. We'll come to that. Trust me, soon we will come to tomorrow's Rams-Niners game because I've been watching last season's 2 games and I've come up with a plan.
I love the optimism.
Oh, look,
I'm going to
Never
be you.
listen.
I will be you last Sunday when you were on at about 3:30, probably Monday morning after I finished watching the Niners game. But I have a plan. Sorry, Rachel. What have you got odds wise, etc., on the Steelers game?
No worries. I was going to say, first of all, you should rule number 1 of gambling is you should never, ever, ever bet on your favorite team. Like I break my own rule every once in a while. I'm done betting on the Falcons this season, like completely done. I was completely done whenever they lost to Nick Foles and the stupid Bears. Yeah. But your 49ers, they're 3-point dogs. They're 3-point dogs to the Rams tomorrow. I have 3.5 points. And I actually, on our show, I picked the 49ers to actually win this game as well. I think it means more to the 49ers. I think it means more to Shanahan. I think, I saw somebody ask Jimmy G if something about his confidence, like had his confidence been shot, something like that. And like the dude is like the most handsome man probably on the west side of the Mississippi River.
For sure.
He's he's getting a shit ton of. I'm sorry. Can I cuss?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
He's not nicknamed porn star Jimmy for a reason.
Exactly. Like, he's rich, he's young, he's handsome, and he's the quarterback of the freaking 49ers. Like, come on, like, confidence my ass. You know, this dude's fine. But I definitely think that, you know, with kind of his skill set being questioned right now and whatever, I just think I really do expect a bounce back from that. And then as far as what'd y'all say, the Steelers? The Steelers and the Browns. Last I checked, they were 4-point dogs? Yeah. Cleveland is still a 4-point dog to the Steelers. On my show,
Rachel, you're going to have to explain to me 4-point dogs. Come on, this is a term that I'm not aware of here. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry about that. 4-point dog means that they are to lose by at least 4 points. So referring to them as a dog, obviously a negative connotation there. Yeah, they're the underdog. So 4-point dog meaning the Steelers are favored to win by 4 or more. So the Browns are 4-point dogs, and they're probably used to being that. Let me see. And then the point total I see is set at 51 points right now. Do you guys think that the Browns and the Steelers end up in total combined over 51 points?
Probably not.
I think it's going to be a really tight game, and it's going to finish with a Bozzy field goal at the end, which Ivan will have tears in his eyes once it sort of goes through the uprights. But it's going to be a tight game. I mean, I don't really sort of think either of these teams are sort of known for putting up numbers. And
you obviously didn't see Cleveland last week.
Yeah, but they're not known.
Yeah, but that's Dallas. That's Dallas. Dallas can't stop a nosebleed.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, my grandmother could run on Dallas.
Sure. The thing I'm sort of worried about most is that we have exactly what we saw with the Raiders against the Chiefs. Is you've got a team that has, you know, tried to have this rivalry, but they've been irrelevant for ages. All of a sudden, sort of come back and sort of get a win. And I've got big fears that Cleveland are sort of going to go in there as a different Cleveland team, and it is not going to be easy. And I've got a sneaky feeling, and I'm going to be quiet on Twitter for the rest of the sort of afternoon once that game's on there. But he's going to be a close call, that's for sure. I'm not looking forward to it.
That's the one thing you should worry about, Pete. You shouldn't worry about Cleveland. You should worry about Pittsburgh losing, and you should worry about me and what's going to happen.
Rachel, can I ask you a question? I have a question for Rachel. So, it's weird, right? Like, on the outside looking in, right? The 49ers just got boat raced at home by the Miami Dolphins. Like, absolutely hammered. And the Rams are playing very well, and they look really good on offense. For this game to be 3, there's the conspiracy theorist in me, which I'm not, it says, what does Vegas know about this game that I don't know from watching all the film this entire week? Like, is there something to the idea that because this game is a 3-point spread, that there's something that Vegas knows that we don't? There's a lot of money coming in on the Rams, and they're just am I a little bit off base here, or?
No, it could absolutely be that. I'm not sure exactly what the line opened up as this week. I don't know how much it's shifted. Forgive me, my brain is a little bit mush right now. But yeah, I'm seeing them as on my screen, it's 3.5. They're favored by 3.5. The Rams are over the 49ers. And so you know that the home team, right? The home team gets 3 points. So Vegas actually thinks that you are 6 points worse than the Rams. And I think a lot of that has to do with injuries. Honestly, I think people are expecting the Rams to kind of roll the Niners. Divisional games, I think differently. I have a whole different mindset whenever it comes to divisional games. You never know what the hell is going to happen there. But no, it could be that. There could just be a lot of money coming in one direction, which is kind of pushing the line the other way. You'll team 3 more points. I'm kind of surprised that they think that the Niners are 6.5 points worse.
Jace, do you want to know why all of a sudden the sort of stats are sort of heavily in their favor? Because basically I've sold my house and I've put it on the Rams to win this game, mate, because that is how much of a lock it is that the Rams beat the Niners.
Really?
For your sake, I hope so. For your sake, I hope so.
I have to agree with Pete. I think the Rams right now, they're playing really, really well. Their offense is just putting up points for fun. Not only that, Aaron Donald was going back to his MVP. Aaron Donald's going back Defensive Player of the Year where he's just absolutely killing everybody right now.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is, too, look, I don't want to look too much into strength of schedule, but the Rams have beat the Redskins,
excuse me?
I'm sorry, the Washington football team. Who else?
The Bills.
Well, that one. No,
the Cowboys.
they lost to the Bills. That was probably the best team that they played.
I beg your pardon. Well, they should have, but yeah, they beat the Cowboys.
They beat the Cowboys. They beat the so their wins, while their offense, because I watched it on film, and McVay has definitely put another wrinkle into this for Jared Goff, and they're playing very well. Their wins aren't exactly super impressive, but yes, I would, again, coming into this, if you watch the film from last week, you watch the film for both teams, it's going to be hard for the 49ers. I don't know what they're going to do with Aaron Donald. The only suggestion I have is going back to 2 or 3 years ago when they got him ejected from the game. That's the only way that I could see them stopping Aaron Donald, because he's going to destroy the interior offensive line. Lincoln Tomlinson and Daniel Brunskill, Godspeed, friends. Enjoy that one.
So you're hoping. So basically, you're just hoping for unsportsmanlike conduct
for sure. Get him out of the game. Let him slam his helmet down, and then we'll even the odds. Like,
did anybody else see Donald just hanging off the back of Alex Smith when he first came in, going, "Oh my God, that poor guy"?
Yeah. And then he popped right back up. That was crazy.
And I don't know if you saw they put the camera on Aaron Donald, and he cursed, and he was like, "Man, that effing leg is strong, man," because he jumped on his neck. He was on his back, and and that's a huge man.
It's an Aaron Donald rucksack right there, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you now, if Alex Smith doesn't win Comeback Player of the Year, the NFL is rigged.
No, he will.
Ben Roethlisberger and all that crap. I'm telling you now, if Smith doesn't win it, forget it. It's rigged.
As much as I'd like to see Cam Newton actually get Comeback Player of the Year, me being a Patriots fan and all, but Alex Smith, what he's had to go through these last couple of years has been astronomical. I mean, what was it? Something like 17 surgeries, I think he's had on that leg.
Well, he nearly died, didn't he?
He almost died and lost the leg.
He nearly died against the Rams last week. I mean, because there's no O-line in front of him. But
I think he was closer to death with his operation, to be fair, Carl.
I think
Alex Smith would have to start more. He would have to start more to win that.
He's not playing this week. Yeah, he's not playing this week.
Yeah.
It's Kyle Allen.
Did Allen?
Yeah.
But he got smacked around the head.
Everybody thought it was a concussion. It was his arm. He was fine to go back in the game, and Ron Rivera just stuck with him. He wasn't in concussion protocol. It looked like it because he took a nasty hit, but it was his arm.
Fair play. But Rach, what other games are you looking forward to this weekend? Which one are you going to be sort of looking closely on?
I know I'm really I hate the Panthers, but they're playing the Bears, and the last I checked, my phone screen just like timed out. But the last time I checked, I think they were 2-point favorites. The Panthers were favored to win by 2 over the Bears, and I'm really excited to see that because I don't know if it's just because I kind of despise and detest Nick Foles for some reason or what it is, but I'm looking for the Bears to lose. I'm looking for the Bears to get exposed and for everybody to quit thinking that they're a good team. That is the flukiest one-loss team I've ever seen. I mean, hell, they should have lost to the Lions in week 1. I don't know if y'all watched that game, but at the very end of the game, Matt Ryan, he throws a laser to DeAndre Swift, the rookie. In the end zone.
Dropped it in the end zone.
He just dropped it. Like, he was open, and he just magically dropped it. Like, oh, man, fucking rookies, right?
They should have lost against the Bucs. They should have lost against the Bucs last week, especially if Brady knew what a fucking fourth down was.
Yeah.
Well, look, he's a little bit older. Come on, give him some, give him a little slack. Get him some warm milk. Get him to bed. He's a little. Yeah,
he's not as protected. Yeah, he's not as protected as he was once at New England. He's getting smacked around a little bit. So I
haven't seen his jersey that dirty in a very, very long time. I'm watching Khalil Mack have his way with Tom Brady, and I mean that's how you rattle Tom Brady. I mean, historically, and just about any loss I can think of, my brain goes back to Super Bowl 51. Like the first half of that game, the Falcons' defense is all up in his ass, and then the second half not so much. But I mean that's how you rattle him, and I was like, bro, are you concussed or what? You think it's fourth? You didn't know that it was fourth down? What the hell? That's just not a Tom Brady thing. That's something I expect Nick Foles to do maybe, or a younger dude, or just anybody else. But like Tom Brady, you always think that he's mentally right there. But it seemed like his anger got the best of him in that game a little bit.
If you beat the left tackle, then Brady's basically a sitting duck.
Yeah. Yeah, sure is.
And I think there's a few people that think the sort of Bears are probably not worthy of their 4-1 start that they've got. So,
What do they do with Mitchell Trubisky?
Sorry, guys,
What?
wait a minute.
It's over. I mean, once you move off of a draft pick, and the front office admits their mistake, because Nagy was involved in all of that as well too. Ryan Pace has just done a horrible job constructing this roster. It's like you looked at this team last year and you said, we're not bringing anything in as far as weapons with Allen Robinson and an offensive line. It's just like it's head scratching. I think that that first year that we saw them go into the playoffs is because of a dominant defense, and I think that Ryan Pace, like the old saying, and this is directed. I hate to keep making it about my team, but if you're not getting better and you're staying the same, then you're just getting worse, and that's what the Bears have done. So
yeah, didn't they? Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the only offensive player that they drafted in the draft a tight end? Yep. Everything else was defense, and defense that's not their problem. Yeah. That's not the problem. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that was the same. I went and I looked it up, and I'm like, is this the same general manager that decided to move up one spot with your team, right?
Yes.
And to move up to, I don't even think that was necessary.
No, we weren't going to take them. We threw smoke screens at them to get them to move up. But I mean, honestly, it didn't even really work in our favor. We wound up taking Solomon Thomas. So, I mean, but and then the tight end thing is that they've got 12 of them. Like Jimmy Graham is what you thought was what this team needed. Like it's head scratching to figure out how they constructed this roster.
Right. And I think at one point in the offseason, they had like 11 tight ends on, the offseason roster. Yeah. It's just, and you go and you draft one, your first pick, I think, was a tight end. And then you and you get Graham. It's like, what the hell are they doing? But that's the same general manager, like I said, that drafted Trubisky. So I'm just like, how the hell do you still have a job? Do you have some sex video of the owner doing something weird, or what? What is going on here? How do you keep your job? That's insane.
Something. And that's the worst part, is that they bring in Nick Foles to try to compete with Mitchell Trubisky and almost like light a fire under him. But then when you get rid of him after 3 games, you basically are admitting your mistake. Like Mitchell Trubisky will now be a journeyman, will be a backup quarterback the rest of his career in his time in here. And that's the thing. It's like, when you're invested in, people's jobs are on the line when you invest in these draft picks, and when you move to something as drastic as that, and then you admit your mistake within the 4th year and you bench the kid, you can't go back to him, and that his time with the Bears is over. It's done.
Yeah, no, it really is. And it was almost like the first opportunity that they had to literally kick him out the game. Because like I said, they've invested so much, with that sort of, calling that draft pick, they had to sort of keep going with him, but they knew that Foles was their man. But you know what? Just leave the kid. Just put Foles in from week 1. I know obviously Trubisky got them wins under his belt, but it was literally the first opportunity that they got to get rid of the kid. I mean, it's not season.
I think that's the thing too, Pete, is that as an organization, right? This is a results business, right? Matt Nagy needs to keep his job. They're 3-1 at that point. You have to win more games and get into the playoffs to save your job. And if you don't, then you're going to be fired. And that's the thing. This is a result business. So if you see a chance for you to make the playoffs, especially with the expanded postseason format, if you see your chance to get into the playoffs, it may save Matt Nagy's job. It may not save Ryan Pace's job, but it may save Matt Nagy's job. So I kind of understand trying to go for it and win as many games as possible. So it's just a results league. That's it. Like, it's what have you done for me lately? It's not what you did for me last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's how bad the Falcons defense is, that, you're an undefeated team, but at halftime, if you've only put up 10 points against our shitty defense, your ass gets benched. That was terrible. I cannot believe Nick Foles came in and threw 3 touchdown passes and just
he lit the place up. Lit the place up.
It's a real shame that the Niners didn't profit more off of when we suckered Chicago. That's what we're saying. To go up one. That's just crazy. As you said, Jason, it's not Solid T's fault that he's 3rd overall, especially when you look at what else was on the board. But hindsight, obviously, is a wonderful thing. But definitely, as everyone's kind of said, the Bears are the worst 4-1 team. Definitely.
Talking of players on the board, how about the kid Chase Claypool out of Notre Dame, second round on a wide receiver draft, heavy wide receiver sheet, and looks like the Steelers have got an absolute monster.
If there's one thing the Pittsburgh Steelers are very, very renowned for is by drafting top wide receivers.
What he said.
Talented wide receivers.
What he said.
You are right. You
What
are
he said.
definitely right.
But
Correct. Are you Pete? Are you a Steelers fan?
I am a Steelers fan.
Is that what I'm
yeah.
getting from this? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
I
wanted
know
to
he
confirm.
looks like he's auditioning for G.I. Joe in his camo gear, but he is.
I love it.
No.
I love camo. I wear way too much camo.
I think you'll find it's called the style Nick, something that you'll know nothing about, dude.
I like
y'all
it. I'm
become-
missing the blazer.
If style is you, Pete, thank fuck I have none.
I actually missed the blazer, Pete. I was looking for. I thought you were gonna come in here just like with the blazer again. I was kind of looking forward to it. I'm a bit disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about the sort of blazer, but I saved that for very special days only. I mean, I put a collar on. I mean, Rachel was coming on, so I put a shirt on at least.
I love it. Hey, I'm curious. How did y'all become the fans of the teams that you are fans of? More specifically, I guess, geared towards the people in England, but also you clearly are from the East Coast. How the hell did you become a Niners fan? I'm just curious if y'all could tell me, because I always wonder, how do people in England choose what team you love?
I think I've told this story on here before, but my father went to Indiana University around the time that Joe Montana was at Notre Dame, and my father described him as bigger than Jesus. And when my father came back to the East Coast, because he's from the Bronx, my father's from the Bronx in New York. When he came back, he was a 49ers fan. And I like who my father likes. So when it comes to East Coast teams, yes, I'm a Yankee fan. My father's from the Bronx. He lived very close to Yankee Stadium. But that's where my love for the 49ers came from. And it was from that, so I was born in 84. I don't remember the 80s championships. There you go. Oh,
Sorry.
God. It's like 2020 just continues to punch people in the face. And it's like, I've been rooting for the Tampa Bay Rays so hard, even though they eliminated the Yankees. And it's like, is this really about to happen with the Astros? Like, I can't take this anymore. You know what? Cheating is one thing. That's fine. There's people in this room that understand about that. But the thing is this. It's like they're doubling down in every interview, like being jerks about it. Like that's my issue. It's like they're just whatever. That's baseball. But anyway, so I continue to just follow.
Are we talking cheating because we've got a Patriots fan on the show today? Is that why you're talking?
And I raised an eyebrow, so yes.
I was going to say, Carl was getting more deflated by those comments, Jason. So be careful.
I
don't watch I don't watch much baseball at all. But after what had happened with the scandal and out of the Astros, it kind of like, yeah, you've just been collared for that, and
but
I can understand why.
What are the Yankees going to do when Manfred unseals that letter?
Hey, if they're part of it too, then they deserve it. Look, again, if you've
baseball, they cheat.
Right, and if you've done something wrong, then you deserve to own it, right? But the problem that I have with the Astros is just that they double down on it. It's almost like, oh yeah, we did it, and what? And they're, like, and you see Correa talking about learn the facts. We know the facts, dude. Like, it's just like, look, you're if you don't want to like them because of their cheating, that's fine. But the doubling down of it is really where I have the issue of it. Instead of saying, hey, I'm sorry, we're moving on, we moved on from it. But they're just like using it as some kind of us against the world, as if somebody did something to them. That's the issue that I kind of have with it. That's all.
It's really, the drama is really, really good for baseball, though. I mean, nothing could have been better than for them to embrace being the villain. I think it's so good for baseball, and it's made it so much more interesting than it is. But I apologize for getting us off the subject. Pete, how did you become a Steelers fan?
It was a drunken evening hot tub party in St. Lucia in the Caribbean with a dude from Pennsylvania. Enough said.
Really?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, just in the Caribbean, getting drunk. Guy from Pennsylvania, my buddy Jason Whittle, just basically sort of told me, look, you got to pick a team, you got to pick the Steelers. And from that day forth, I've been a Steelers fan. So I'm still,
nice.
4 or 5 years into my tenure of being a Steelers fan. But I've always loved the game, and I preferred it much more when I didn't have a team and I could just enjoy it for the game. And yeah, now obviously being a fan, some days can be pretty heavy when your team loses, but I wouldn't change it for the world. No, I love being a Steelers fan, that's for sure.
It's a nice franchise too. I wish that I got to choose what football team I loved, because it sure as hell wouldn't be the Falcons. Like it wouldn't. Like, it's just a life of misery. My second favorite team, y'all don't kill me, San Francisco fans, but I'm my second favorite team is the Cardinals, and they haven't done much either. So it's just all shit for me. But how'd you?
But it doesn't matter whatever team you support. I mean, even if they're so bad, it's in your blood. It doesn't matter how bad they are. You support a team. You support a team. It doesn't matter. You go through the good times, the bad times. If it's just bad times, you can't just you can't change. It is who you are, and like you say, even though the Falcons suck, if someone said to you, "Get a do-over," I'm pretty sure you'd still say you'd want to be a Falcons fan, unless I'm wrong.
You might be wrong. I don't know. I don't know. But you know what? It could be worse. Like, I think about, I live here in Houston, so I have to cover and talk about the Texans a lot. And they always remind me that it's not so bad. You know what I mean? Just shit could be worse. Could be a Texans fan.
Yeah, there's always a team that just makes you feel so much better about it.
Terrible franchise. Terrible in every way, shape, and form.
No, absolutely, for sure. Nick, I mean, I'm just assuming you become a Niners fan just because back in the olden days when TV was black and white, the Niners were good, right?
You're such a dick.
Yeah, I swear. Good God. Thank God I wasn't on this show last year.
All I can say is, at least I've only ever supported one team, Pete, and you've had more clubs than Jack Nicklaus.
No, I haven't had more. I've only supported one.
I will dig out and share screen you in Niners jerseys and
you gave
with
me
the
a
Niners
Niners jersey to wear.
Getting wine thrown over you by some random
I didn't
German.
support them, did I? I didn't support them. I wasn't sort of like have a bloody gold and red pom-poms supporting the Niners. You gave me
you did.
I
gave you them, but you never actually use them for that. And we can't go into what you get up to after 7 o'clock on a Saturday night. So let's not go down that road. For me, Rachel, I'm obviously the elder statesman of this group.
Much elder.
And although
Y'all
I don't do male grooming, which is why I look like shit. I could be a pretty boy.
You look great.
I could look like
he does look very good for his age. I'll give him that.
Yeah, you look great. Don't let them shame you.
For sure.
Don't take that.
He does that himself.
As the guy Gerard Butler in the Angel movies says, I was brought up on bourbon and bad choices. And for quite a while, 79, I picked up a copy of USA Today, or I was given a copy of USA Today, flicked through to the sport. Joe Montana was there. He'd just been drafted. He was quite new to the team. They went 2-14. And just seeing the red and white and the gold pants, and just I fell in love with the team. I've been a fan ever since. Obviously, I've seen some amazing times. I've seen some absolutely train wreck times. But as Pete said, once you get a team, that's it. I mean, I wasn't born into it, obviously. I've played the game. I've coached, and I've always and I always tell this story. When the NFL first came to the UK, so I'm talking probably late 70s, early 80s, maybe to mid 80s, Frank Gifford used to host a 30-minute highlight show from the previous week. We had no live NFL, and you just get the odd you get some touchdowns and some plays and a bit of waffle, and that was it. So from where it was then to where it is now, I mean, now in the UK, as you know, we have the international series. The games sell out within minutes. And it's just incredible to have been on that journey from way back to how popular the game is now. But yeah, I mean, I've ever since I saw the 16 in that jersey. That was it. I was sold. I just saw him and I thought, yeah, I like this guy. And of
You
course,
fell in
Joe
love.
Cool became Joe Cool, and we went from Joe Cool, and then I was heartbroken when he was traded to the Chiefs, and then of course Steve Young came in, and then sort of after Steve Young had won his Super Bowl, it was just a shit show for years. So I've lived through all of that, and
I have no sympathy.
thought we were on a crest of a wave last year, and of course that all went to shit. And this season ain't great, but I will always be a Niners fan, and I will never waver from that. And I just love the game. I love the game in general. Carly, you always
That's
are
true.
in, and I know you're on the West Coast, so much respect to you. You always come in. You're always here early, and I know it's stupid o'clock when we first go on the air. If you're around later on, 7 p.m. UK time, which I think is 1 p.m. East Coast, please come on. What happened? Oh, yeah. Trust you, Pete, to put up Scott, who's a Kansas City fan, who is a regular guest on.
Scott's our boy.
He is until he starts talking about that Super Bowl. Because
Hey, I mean, but look. Honestly, if that game would have ended the other way, we wouldn't have been shutting up about it. So I'm not gonna get on anybody. You know, if you win the biggest game, go for it. You might as well take your lap because who knows when the hell you'll be back or win it again. It's not as easy as everybody assumes.
No,
Man, if my Falcons ever won, I would never shut up. Y'all can tell me nothing. I'd be probably streaking through the streets like it. No, enjoy that. It's very fortunate for all of you that all of y'all's favorite teams have a history of success, especially more so compared. You know, you might have up and down years, but compared to 80% of the teams in the league, y'all's teams have rings, trophies, good owners, all that stuff. It's nice. We have Carl, the Patriots fan, right?
Yeah.
Carl, how'd you become a Patriots fan?
My biological father has supported the Patriots since the early 70s, so he's gone through all the turmoil and everything else that has happened over those last 2 decades. He slowly got me into NFL around about 12 years ago now, about 2008. I was in college at the time. And so for the first 2 years, I was just basically not cheering for anybody, but just trying to understand the game, how it works, how it plays and that. And in 2010, I ended up making the decision. I goes, okay, so there was 4 teams I actually currently liked. One of them obviously was the Patriots, who my dad supported. One, I think, was the Cincinnati Bengals because I liked their kit. And the other 2 was either going to be Chicago and the New Orleans Saints. The Saints I had a real soft spot for. Don't know why. I just did. I just loved their stadium, and it was just the aura. It was just fantastic.
So
in the end, I ended up sticking to the bloodline because my dad is an Arsenal football fan for soccer. So I ended up going down the same road as him. So I stayed as a Patriots fan and have been for a good part of 10 years now. So I have lived.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I have lived in the Brady era, for about half the time he was there. So that's how it's
that bandwagon. It's finishing.
That's been a very, very long era.
Here's the thing, though. Once I don't like it when people bandwagon off other teams. So they go to this team, goes, oh no, they're crap. Nope, we're going to go to this one. We're going to go to that one. Once you choose a sport and once you choose a team, you stick to them till the day you die.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Is there any resistance over there? Like here in the States, or at least where I live in Houston, when people start, or whenever, let's say, like I work at ESPN here in Houston. It's like ESPN Houston 97.5. I host a radio show there. There is resistance to soccer and to it growing here in the States. I don't know why, but always whenever you have a lot of like football fans and stuff, and somebody mentions, oh, the soccer game, whatever, blah, blah, blah. People are always like, I don't talk about that. I don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? Like people are just very resistant to it for some reason. Is the same resistance there in the UK? Like, are people like, oh, that's not real football. This is football. And you know what I'm talking about? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. And I think when it first started coming over to the NFL, I think the first game where they played at Wembley, I think it was 2012, Pete, if I'm not mistaken, Giants versus the Dolphins. There wasn't a lot of a following back then, was there? But as it has gradually built up, they've had a different...
Nick will tell you that there's been
Nick,
games
yeah,
way before then. So, but they weren't sort of actually part of the regular season. They were just more exhibition games.
Yeah,
and I saw the great Joe Montana, the great Dan Marino play one of the most crappiest games at the old in the America Bowl, and also the Philadelphia Eagles came over, but they were basically exhibition games. They weren't serious. But Montana, Rice, Jesse Sapola, who's been on this show, Jesse, we are going to reach out to you soon to come back because we need to see those 2 Super Bowl rings again because that was just amazing.
That was pretty
anyway,
special.
I digress. So yeah, early 80s we had exhibition games over here, but the actual, as you say, the regular season games was 20 years. No, not 20 years ago. What am I talking about? Very, very recent.
8 years ago, about 2012, I think it was.
Yeah,
either 2011 or 2012. It was one of them.
It caught on, but that Rachel, the sport in this country is massive.
It's exploding
Really?
now, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
It had a peak
yeah.
in the 80s, and then it kind of died down again, and it's been going up and up. And as I said, the international series, you could put 6 or 7 games over here, and they'd sell out, irrespective of the teams. Pete will tell you, Carl will tell you, when you go to Wembley or Twickenham or the Spurs Stadium, all teams are represented. It's not just,
2 sets of fans.
It's not just 2 sets of fans. It's everybody, and everybody gets on, and everyone mingles, and we all have, we all take, we all bust each other's chops over each other's teams, and we have beer and get drunk, and it's just an amazing day for everyone. And a lot of the time, and Pete will say this, because he's a Steelers fan, I'm a Niners fan, we've both seen the Niners play in the international series. And I've actually got a game ball upstairs from Frank Gore's touchdown when the Niners played the Jag. Later, Ivan.
Speak tomorrow when you're losing.
Yeah, somehow I think you'll be silent. So a lot of the time, I think, and I think Pete will agree, because there's a whole gang of us go, the game sometimes is secondary to what goes on outside beforehand, and meeting everyone and drinking and eating and just having a really good time.
And I think that's in answer to Rachel's question there. There is absolutely hate for people that don't understand the game. It is like, no, that's the wrong football. When me and Nick go in and say we're talking football, we're talking American football, and everyone else
don't use the correct words that they say, but they call it American egg chasing.
Yeah, but I think that is why we love having egg chasing.
Yeah.
That's why when we go to the NFL up at Wembley, we all love it, because it is actually fans of the game all getting together, and we're away from all the idiots that sort of poo-poo it as the wrong football and it's not a sport and all this rubbish. So for us to all sort of go to Wembley, all represent our team and know that we're in amongst people that love American football, it's massively exploding over here. And dare I say it, we've got our own football channel over here now as well. Sky Sports have got their own NFL channel. Even in sort of like grassroots, they've got sort of big coaches now in the UK, women getting involved. It's huge over here now. It really is.
Is it a collegiate sport?
Sorry,
No.
say again.
Oh, okay.
Not
I was wondering
yet,
if it was a collegiate sport over there.
But the NFL do have an academy for British players over here now. Because one of the guys that's
I think I've heard of that.
who's like the main anchor on our channel, Sky Sports, his son is a quarterback, and he is in I think it's the International Academy or Progression or something like that. But it's not anywhere near soccer, golf, rugby, I don't think. But it's for NFL fans like us guys here in the UK, to me now, NFL is more important than soccer, and it has been for quite a while. I still support my soccer team, same as Pete supports his, and I think he'll agree, we look forward to Sunday game day from 2 p.m. here.
Yeah, it's become a religion.
Until I mean, we have from here, like game day starts at 2 p.m. The first games are 6 p.m. Then you've got either a 9:05 window or a 9:25, or Sunday night football. Like for me and Jason, I mean, Jason, I don't know what time it will be there.
So it's 8:30.
Me,
It's 8:30 for me. So the game ends closer to midnight.
So I will be up at 1:30 a.m. on Monday to watch the game, and it will finish at about 4:30 a.m. And then unfortunately, I've got to go and see that schmuck at work at 7:30. So we all. I know you had your issues getting up this morning, Rachel.
Die-hard fans will
in that bar, but this is what we do over here. It's great, and a lot.
You have to come over, Rachel, and experience what it's like over here. Because if you hear the likes of like Jeff, obviously you'll speak to Jeff next time. He says that it's the closest thing you'll get to going to a Super Bowl is going to watch an international game at Wembley Stadium. That's what the atmosphere is like. It's crazy.
So not to put my bosses on the spot or anything, but I have been like hinting. So my bosses for the show that me and Jeff do for Pickswise, they are in England. Mm-hmm. And I'm like just hinting here and there, you know, like I'd love to come to England, love to come. I've never left the country before. I'd love to come see England. And so finally the other day they texted me and they said that they promised that they're going to bring me over there, and probably like for sure whenever the NFL resumes having games over there. So I'm guessing whenever Corona apocalypse ends. But yeah, I will be going over there at some point. Hopefully, awesome. Hopefully this is over by next year. So I don't know how close you guys are to England. To London.
We're close. Yeah,
we're
an hour away.
Tell us where you are going to be, and we will bring Shank Club NFL to you. Just make sure that you're not working the next day. You've got your drinking head on, and you like to eat.
Let's do it. Oh my God.
Over,
so cool.
Now, there is a pub in London that we go to on a Saturday night, and Pete will tell you it is absolutely rocking.
Well, screw that, Nick. I want an invitation to the Pickwise London party.
Yeah, but it might be in a broom. It might be in a broom cupboard, and you are invited.
I want to come though, so I'm really going to milk that as much as I can and embrace the fact that I have bosses in England. And
but adding that game to sort of a game that you've been to though is surely got to be an advantage in your line of work. So you know it's not just a jolly up; it's a work trip, right? You know, make sure you sort of put it as a work trip. It's very important.
Very important, you know, expense it, tax deductions, all that good stuff.
Indeed.
We felt that last year actually, because Pete and I were the last game we went to. We normally do a Shank Club NFL weekend in London, and we picked the game. We got a cheap hotel. Everything was looking good. The Saturday, Pete and I work together, and that's how we both got into this.
Well, I work, you don't do anything.
Well, no, of course I don't. But you're my boss, and that's your fault. But anyway, so we were all up for it. Friday came, and it was like, I can't wait. We're going to go out Saturday night. We're going to get blasted. We're going to go to the game. Saturday comes. Pete's really ill, and he's I don't. In American football terms, he was doubtful to make the game. And I'm like, no, you've got to go. You've got to go. We'll go up there early. You can sleep it off. Get some cold remedy. Take whatever. Just Advil. Just do it. Well, I don't know. And in the end, I convinced him. So we go up there. And it was a bit hit and miss on the Saturday night. And then I woke up on the Sunday with what Pete had. And I was that ill. I couldn't drink. I was falling asleep. I was so cold at the game.
Oh no!
That was the Texans game. That was the Texans game as well, wasn't it?
And we were right up in the gods as well. So it was like a trek up a mountain to get to our seat. So I was needing oxygen when I got up there. and I just fell asleep. And Pete and it was set up to be such a good weekend, but unfortunately, it was such a failure because everybody was ill.
It is the highlight to our year, isn't it, normally? So the fact that it's been taken away, and obviously this is normally when they're coming over as well. So this is normally a really crazy month for us, sort of going up to London and watching the games. It is sad that we're
Falcons
not
were going to play there. The Falcons were supposed to play there this year, right?
We're supposed to play Denver there, I believe. That was
Oh,
one
was
of
it
the
Denver?
games. Yeah, I think it was against
Okay.
Denver.
I don't know why I was thinking it was the Bears, but yeah, that's cool. Do y'all ever get to come to the States? Do y'all ever come to the States and watch a game here?
Bucket list thing for me to do.
Yeah, so we've got a friend who is on the practice squad at the Vikings at the moment. So we're hoping that if he eventually sort of gets on a team, that me and Nick might be able to sort something out and go and see him and wherever he is. But obviously at the minute he's on the Vikings practice team. So if he can make it there, then we'll have to take a trip out and see him. But yeah, I'd certainly love to do it. It looks amazing, to experience a proper tailgating party before the game and everything. I'm sure it'll be awesome.
Yeah,
Turn of the year. Sorry,
I'm
Rachel,
told that
go ahead.
no, it's okay. I used to work with a guy named Sean Salisbury. You just said the Vikings made me think of it. He used to be a quarterback for them. We're really good friends, but he told me that the games in England, the crowd and how do you say it? Like where you expect as a player, or I guess as an American fan, where you expect to hear intensity from the crowd in certain spots, that it's very different in England as opposed to in the States. And I'd be interested, if you guys ever do come to a game here in the States, I'd be interested to hear you describe the contrast, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the only sort of one thing I really hate. I don't know if sort of Nick and Carl can say the same thing, but that is the one thing that I really don't like about actually when we're in the stadium is that there is just, it's two halves and it's so weird that there's not one team that is quiet when they're on offense and massively loud when it's on defense. And that's
Right.
the really one thing that I hate about the fact that there's everybody cheering everything rather than it just being one team biased. I'd love to be in a stadium where it's just one team biased and it is massively loud when it needs to be loud and silent when it needs to be silent. I'd love to sort of experience that, because the trouble is with Wembley Stadium, wherever we go, it's just a party atmosphere and everyone's celebrating everything. And there's probably a lot of people there that almost sort of don't even really understand what's going on. And unfortunately, the Jaguars being the home team, there isn't really that much to cheer about anyway.
You do get obviously some London games. You do get your mixture of fan, but there's always especially when the fixture is. So for example, last year I had the opportunity to go watch the Buccaneers versus the Carolina Panthers at Tottenham's new stadium, which is an absolute masterpiece of a stadium. And there are different fans in different jerseys, but there are clumps around of Buccaneers and Panthers fans. More Panthers fans than Bucks fans. So, and it was actually really good to see. And you can tell that, especially when it's on third down, you can tell who they are booing and who they are shouting at to try and put them off in every single way. And Jameis Winston it was actually the Buccaneers that were struggling on third down. I mean, Jameis Winston had 5 turnovers in that game, for crying out loud.
Imagine that.
Oh, he had a good game.
Yeah, exactly.
First play, first throw, interception. I turned around to my cousin, goes, who's also a 49ers fan, by the way, this is going to be a long day for Jameis, isn't it? He said, yep. And Run CMC is just going to bull rush everyone.
No, for sure.
So
That Rogers guy said Arrowhead. He's got you guys. That is, I believe they register, they quantify it. That is one of the loudest home stadiums. That Arrowhead crowd gets really, really loud. And I think a lot of it has to do actually with the shape of the building as well. But, Seattle gets really loud. So, but that's one of them, man. I would love to go experience Arrowhead myself. That's got to be cool.
Right. Guys, I've gotta hop off. I'm sorry. I gotta take care of my little one. Pete, Nick, thank you. Carl, really nice to meet you, man. Follow me on Twitter. Rachel, I just followed you as well too. So it's up to you if you want to
follow back.
All right.
I want to follow you back.
All right, cool. Well, I'll thank you guys again. It's always a blast to come talk with you guys and everything as well too. I always appreciate coming on here with you guys and meeting new people like Carl, like Rachel. So, thank you guys and enjoy the rest of your day. And Nick, let me know, man, if if Niners All Day is done, I'll jump back on with you and Jeff. I always like talking with Coach.
Cool. I'll send you the link anyway, Jason, so you've got it. If you want to come back on, man, do it. If you don't, I'm sure we'll still be busting chops. You never know. I might even get Dre and Brawns if they're available. Let them know, man. Let them know.
I will.
I'll send them if they want to hit me up on DM, I'll send them the link and we'll see what goes.
Yep. And I'll leave you with one more. I know your wife loves it. Forget about it. All right.
Forget about it. Get the fuck out of here.
Later, guys. Have a great day.
Take care, bro.
Cheers, Jason. Thanks, man.
It ends up sort of, we've just had like I said, so when I sent Rachel a message saying, look, basically we're just sitting in the pub talking football, and that's pretty much what has ended up happening today. We normally sort of talk games, and I know Jason starts going into all these sort of stats and stuff like that. He absolutely loves it. He knows a lot about the game, so bless him. I feel a bit sorry for him today, just sort of listening to us talk for a change. But it's normally us listening to him talking the whole show. So, but yeah, thanks. I mean, Nick, is there anything sort of more subjects you wanted to sort of bring up on this show, buddy? I know Rachel's had an early morning, and we really appreciate her coming on.
Okay, let's go. Are you quite happy to stay for a while, Rachel? Are you good, or do you need to go?
Yeah, I could last a little bit longer for sure. I love talking football, and I love talking with you guys across the pond. So yeah, we can do it.
Right. Okay, Pete. Let's pull up 6 games to talk about and do predictions. Obviously, we're going to do the Niners game. We're going to do the Falcons game. We're going to do New England playing, or
I don't know if I can do 6 games.
The Patriots Broncos game is still planned to go ahead.
It's still going, and obviously, all right. Well, we'll talk 4 games, Pete, because I know when it gets to about an hour and 40, you get upset. So, all right, okay. Steelers Browns. Get it over and done with. Give us your best take.
Well, I mean, following on from Ivan's message earlier on, he was sort of saying there that the Steelers 4-0 don't deserve to be 4-0. Now, I'm guessing, being a Browns fan, he hasn't watched any of the Steelers games. And to be fair, I actually think that we've dominated every one of them games without running away with it. We've sort of got off to a decent lead. The team's then sort of been let back in, and we've then just sort of trickled it through and won. So we've been able to win 4 games without being hugely impressive, which I think is, very, very good. The thing I was really worried about against the Eagles that the last game was we just literally, when they were 3rd and long, every time they seem to sort of make 3rd and long, and that's something we've got to sort of get out of the game. The defense isn't firing all cylinders. Minka's name's not getting sort of called in the cast or anything. He's sort of not really sort of getting involved, which may well sort of necessarily be a good thing that we're not sort of hearing Minka's name being called. But I'm still really excited about this Steelers team, but for me, I just feel that this is the turning point. We're going to play the Browns. It's a very, very good team. I am really sort of scared. And this is going to be this, knowing whether the Steelers are legit, whether they can handle a team like this that is playing really good football. I think we will be sort of solid up front. I think we're going to sort of hopefully sort of hold their run game up, make Baker throw the ball, which obviously, as we saw last week, he can do. But I just feel if we can sort of get Baker running around, slow down their run game, I do feel that is what we need to do to sort of win the game. I am concerned that De Castro's out at right tackle, but he's been out before, and Dotson filled in really well. He didn't have the best game against the Eagles. He had a couple of penalties against him, but he's still sort of practicing to that right-hand side with Okorafor, and Dotson is probably the weak sort of link, but I'd rather it be on the right side than the left side. The running game still isn't really there. But as we've seen, it doesn't seem to sort of be a team that's going to sort of rely really on the run game. Ben is dinking and dunking. He's not throwing them out there long. Like you said, Nick, he's not making these long passes anymore. And he's managing the game really well, and he's got weapons. And I think Claypool had 11 receptions this week, and he seems to be the guy he's going to. I don't think Deontay Johnson's going to be playing this week. And I said, but again, the reason I think that Claypool got so many touches last week was because Deontay went out early, and all of a sudden Ray McLeod's sort of making plays as well. So all of a sudden, where we were sort of doing these sort of sweeps in the backfield and nothing was really happening and no one was taking us seriously, all of a sudden we've made some plays, and the Matt Canada sort of offense is sort of looking a little bit different. So I am concerned against the Browns. They're easily going to be the best team that we've faced so far. I think I'm going to be watching it through my hands, and I think it's going to go right down to the wire. And I think Chris Boswell is going to hit a game-winning field goal at the end to win it. It's going to be that close. But I think either way, if we lose, I don't think we need to panic. If we win, I think it shows that we've got what it takes. And yeah, it's not going to be a game I'm going to enjoy watching, but I think the Steelers are just going to be strong enough. And I do feel we'll probably split the games overall, but it's a tough division, the AFC North this season. There's some really good teams in there. So I don't think we need to sort of lose face if we lose to the Browns, although it's a bit of a hard streak. We then got Tennessee, and then we've got the Ravens. So if we get out of that 1-2, I don't think I'm going to be too disappointed. If we can go 2-1, I'll be happy. If we can go 3-0, then I'll be like what Rachel was saying earlier, and I'll be streaking. But I don't think it's going to be happening. But for me, I do think the Steelers win this in a really, really close game. Nick, what you
Jeez. And you say I waffle. Jesus. Rachel's only got a little while. You've just wasted 20 minutes on a soliloquy when you could have just said, you're going to win by 3.
Mate, we spent 45 minutes talking about the bloody Niners every single week, so I want to at least get some Steelers football in there.
All I can say to you is second easiest schedule. You can win lose the next 3 games, and it means nothing. You're still going to get probably a wild card if you're lucky. If Big Ben stays upright, he'll dink and dunk. As you said, your running game is still suspect, but you're riding that defense, my friend.
I love this team.
And
there's a lot to like about it.
The Niners could have been in exactly the same position, but injuries happen. You just need to pray that your best players stay upright, because as you found out last year when Big Ben went down, your season went due south.
Yeah, but that's the same with any team, mate. If your QB1 goes down, it's always going to be a struggle.
I still think Cleveland's pass rush are going to get to Big Ben. They're going to put him off his game. And I see it being Cleveland by either a field goal or a touchdown. Rachel, what say you?
You have more faith in the Browns than I do. Look, they've been playing really well, and I don't want to take anything away from them. And obviously losing Nick Chubb hurts. That dude is fantastic, but they can still run the ball with the dude backing him up would be a starter on any other team. The thing is, if the Browns get down and let's say the Steelers get an early lead, let's say they get like a 10-point lead early on. I don't know that Baker Mayfield can put the team on his back and bring the team back from 10 points or 2 touchdowns. You saw him do it versus the Cowboys, right? I think they were down in that game. My memory is bad. I'm sorry. But I think they were down in that game. But, I mean, again, that's the Cowboys defense. This is an actual real defense that he's going to be facing. And a really good secondary. And it's just, I don't know. I every year for the past couple of years in a row, I always go, oh, this is the Browns year. This is the Brown years. They're going to get in the playoffs. They're going to get in the playoffs. And then for whatever reason, it doesn't happen. So I need to see it consistently. Playing 2 good games this season so far just isn't enough for me. I'm going to take the veteran quarterback. I'm going to take the veteran head coach who's been there, done that, knows how to scheme for these games. The Browns, on the other hand, new head coach, young quarterback, still trying to come into his own. Now, if the Browns can get a lead early on, if all you have to do is ask Baker to basically be a game manager, and there's nothing wrong with that. I know there's a negative connotation that comes with the word game manager. I don't think it's a bad thing. That's how they're doing well right now is Stefanski is like keeping him reeled in, rein tight, and Baker Mayfield isn't going out there and just making stupid mistakes. If they can get a lead early on and he can play that, then maybe this is a close game. Maybe they cover 3.5. Maybe they even win. But I don't know why. I just feel like there's too many offensive options for Big Ben. They get off to a lead. I don't see the Browns coming back.
You do actually make a very good point, Rachel, that if the Browns do go down by 10, I'm with you. Can Baker bring him? Can he put that team on his back? Like you, I'm not so sure.
But guy, the
If
problem
it-
is with the Steelers, though, Nick, is we take a good lead, but then we just let them sort of come straight back in. So if we go up by 10, if we go up by 14, the Browns need not worry because we will let them back in. We'll take our foot off the gas. We'll make some
Yeah, but the
mistakes and we'll
difference-
let them back in the game. That's what we
The
do
difference
lately.
is, though, as Rachel was saying, this is Baker Mayfield, all right, and he is very hot and cold. So he has got to be 100% on his game, even if they go 14 points down. I can't see if it's a 10 or a 14-point deficit, as bad as you say they are and you let teams back in, you'll see a change, I think, in the game plan and the way Mayfield is. And I like Rachel, I just can't see him bringing it back. But we'll see. We'll see.
Hopefully before their trip down to Pittsburgh, hopefully it's raining the day before because we all know that Baker Mayfield's got all them seat covers to
Well,
cover
exactly
up the,
right.
all them wet seats. We've got to make sure we tire him out. So hopefully it rains in Cleveland for her so he can.
I
for him
hate
to-
those progressive adverts, but I've said that about 50 times. Carl, talk to me. What do you think this game?
I think Pete and Rachel have covered most of the points. I do think if the Browns are going to win this game, then it will come down to them using the running game. It will come down to Kareem Hunt. It will come down to Dearness Johnson, I think his name is. If the Steelers stop the run, then Baker Mayfield has got to put the whole team on his shoulders then to actually bring the whole thing forward. And this is the problem that the Browns had to start with. They relied so much on Baker Mayfield, and he was just making mistake after mistake after mistake. You now put a decent running game to complement him, and he won't have to throw the ball more than 25 times in the game. I'll go to a 49ers standpoint. When they played Green Bay in the NFC Championship last year, what did you do? You ran the ball. Oh, Green Bay can't stop you? Okay, we'll run you again. We'll run you again. You run you again. I think it was like Jimmy Garoppolo threw the ball 8 times in the second half. So if you can't stop the run, why don't deviate from it? Give Baker the chance he needs. I know Odell Beckham Jr. is a talented receiver and Jarvis Landry is a brilliant wide receiver too. But let them pick their moments. Just concentrate on your main game. The Steelers.
If it goes, Carl, if it goes wrong and Baker is throwing it out and Odell isn't catching it or it's off target, we all know what OBJ will do. So forget about him. If he goes into his little diva, then that's going to change the whole thing. Landry on the other side, he can. But we all know what OBJ can be like, good and bad, and they don't need bad OBJ coming out. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think what Michael was obviously putting in the comments there that Browns have got to establish a run game against the Steelers. I mean, no one has been able to do that so far, and that 74-yard run by Miles Sanders from the Eagles, there was a blatant holding call on there that it should have come back, so that shouldn't have even gone ahead. So I just cannot see them breaking down our
this is a different running game, Pete. Let's not
This is a ground and pound type of running game.
Everybody gets holding calls. Forget it. At the end of the day, you're coming up against an elite running back. And if they can run the ball, that'll open the play action. Play action gets open, that's a whole different game. So don't be under an illusion because someone got 83 or whatever it was from a blatant hold that you think you're going to stop. Kareem Hunt is totally different. Sorry, Carl.
He's good, and he can catch the ball. He can catch the ball a lot too. But yeah, you're right. Like if the Browns get down, right, what OBJ are you going to see? And also, Baker Mayfield, he's feisty as hell too. You know what I mean? And those two, I always feel like, I don't know, whenever they got put together, I was kind of like, oh shit, this could go really wrong because I could just see, I don't know why I feel like if things get really bad there, and we haven't seen it get really bad yet this season, if things get really bad and the going gets tough over there, I could see those two going ahead, you know what I mean? And people in the locker room have to choose the side and so forth. And I don't know, how much faith do you put in Baker Mayfield and OBJ versus how much faith do you put in Ben Roethlisberger and his head coach and whatever wide receiver he wants to throw it to. Like, my money is going with the Steelers. It just is.
Yeah, good. And in answer to John's question down below there, when do we take the Browns serious? Are they serious contenders if they win this game?
I would.
If the Browns go 15-1, I'm not going to take them seriously. So that is the answer to that question.
They're unfortunately in the AFC and the Chiefs are there. So by serious contender, do you mean like a serious contender for the playoffs? Or do you mean a serious contender for AFC champion, a serious contender for a ring? Like, what, define that for me, and I can answer that question better for you.
I've not a contender for the AFC championship. I think a contender for the playoffs is sort of like what they are aiming for. I think anything more than that is just basically they're playing with house money.
Who's your call then, Carl? Who are you going to go for?
I'm going to say this. Cleveland.
Bear in mind, I've got the kick button right over your name, and if you say the Browns, you're going out the show.
Looks like I'm going to be leaving shortly. Then.
Wow. Not even my
joking.
YouTube channel has collusion, and you put me on it straight away. What?
No, you make the call.
If betting man, I would go Steelers. I would go Steelers if I was a betting man.
Yeah, it's going to be a close game.
It will be a close game. I will give you this fact though. The last time the Browns were 4-1 in any season was 1994. Bill Belichick and Nick Saban were the coaches at the time.
Wow.
So
Long time.
And Nick was finally getting served for his first beer in a pub.
Yeah.
In when? 19 what?
94.
Excuse me, 1986. I was eligible to drink in this country, long before any of you were even thought of, might I add.
Yeah, it's true. But no, I think Steelers will just about get it done, and it will come to a field goal. They'll just about get it done.
Right. So we've got 3 Steelers, 1 Browns. Nick. Nick, I've got time for one more game. So up to you what you want to do, who you want to choose, or if you want to let Rachel choose it as being the honorary guest today.
Let Rachel choose it because I know I'm going to do Lone Wolf on the Niners, so I'll do it now anyway. Right, Rachel, go for it.
You're not the Lone Wolf. Actually, I picked the Niners to cover the spread and I picked them to win the game. So you're not lone. You good. You good.
Debatable,
you good.
But yeah.
I had to pick one. So I know. Let's talk about probably the game of the evening, right? It's going to be, what is it, 4? I think it's an evening game. Bucks and Packers. And Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Tom Brady coming off of a loss, and he ate a lot of dirt, ate a lot of grass in that game, lost to Nick Foles again. And as we know, Tom Brady, he does take things personally. He just does, and he gets fired up, and he's emotional, and he gets angry, and he says all the right things in front of the camera, at the press conferences. But he's human, and he's coming off of a loss. And first of all, I can't believe that he lost again in Nick Foles. Like, that blows my mind. And I know that they said, it's just another game. It's just another. Like, no, dude. That was a Super Bowl that you should have won. It was a backup quarterback, and you're crazy if you think that he didn't go into that game thinking, I need to beat Nick Foles. Like, I just need to get this off my chest. At least that's what I think he felt. And I've made a lot of money in the past. Whenever the rare occasion that Tom Brady, as a Patriot, would lose the game, right, and everybody in the media and everybody on social media is like, oh, it's over for Tom Brady. Time to hang it up. He needs to retire. Like, it's like for the past 3 years in a row, right? He loses like one game in a season, and suddenly it's over. He's too old, and it's over. And I've made a lot of money betting on him after a loss because he always comes back and demolishes the next team. Mind you, he doesn't have Bill Belichick. This is Bruce Arians, totally different offense. This is an aired out offense as opposed to with the Patriots where it was dice you up slowly, cut you up. I don't know. I'm interested to see what you guys think about Tom Brady coming off of a loss in prime time in front of the entire world, and versus Aaron Rodgers, a guy that a lot of people have said for years is a better quarterback than him, which blows my mind. But I think that's the game of the day, right?
It is
It
a
will-
very, very
it is.
interesting game.
I was all over the place there, right? Sorry, my
No.
brain's like.
No, it's a very interesting game. Go on, Carl. You go, buddy.
I think the Bucks are going to bounce back in this game. They have to if they can iron out at least half of the penalties that they did against the Bears, that will be a long way into trying to get a victory over the Packers. The only problem is, though, they are playing not just an Aaron Rodgers, they're playing a pissed off Aaron Rodgers. And Green Bay are the highest scoring team in the NFL right now. They're putting up an average 38 points a game. And that's without Devontae Adams the last couple of games. It's really, really... I think the Packers are going to win this game. As much as listen, Patriots fan, I still love Brady, but I'm not just going to cheer on Brady at the Bucks because now you're there. I have this argument with so many of my Twitter followers saying that you either a Patriots fan or a Tom Brady fan, and they say, "Oh no, yeah, I'm a Patriots fan, but I still want to support Tom in Bucks." I goes, "No, you're a Brady fan. Get out of my sight." But no, I've got to go Green Bay. I think their offense is just too strong.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go.
Is it in Green Bay? It's in Green Bay,
So-
right?
It's in Tampa, I think.
It can be at the pirate ship, or it could be in the cold of Green Bay. Doesn't matter. I think Green Bay has still got the better team out of this.
I may be wrong. I think it's down in Tampa, but I still don't think it's going to make a difference. Again, it's not really sort of two teams I sort of know too much about, and I don't really follow the NFC too much. But the fact that obviously I said to Nick at the beginning of the season, and I think I sort of might have mentioned on here, the fact that Green Bay drafted a QB was only going to make Aaron Rodgers a better QB this year because he's going to go out and he's got something to prove. And whether it's his last season at Green Bay and he's putting himself in the shop window, or whether he's just sort of proving that there's no need to bring anyone in and I'm just going to sort of keep this team going forward. The guy is legit. He's putting up MVP numbers this season. And I think Green Bay are going to sneak under the radar this year. They're looking really, really good. Obviously, he's going to have Adams to throw to. Lazard has sort of come out of nowhere, and he's sort of putting up some numbers. Their run game is solid as well. But at the end of the day, is Tom Brady. I think they get Godwin back, I think, this week as well. I'm pretty sure Evans is. Yeah, it is huge. And I think sort of obviously if they can get sort of Fournette working with Jones, I think that could be sort of a really good sort of 1-2 punch. But I still think Green Bay are going to be too strong for Tampa. I really do. I mean, if it was up in Green Bay, forget about it. It's down in Tampa. It's going to be closer, but I still think Green Bay are looking really strong, and I think Green Bay will take this by maybe sort of 7-10 points. Nick?
I really like Green Bay this year. I watched them, was it Monday night or Tuesday night football? Just the week just gone, where that tight end got 3 touchdowns.
Oh, Tonyan.
And yes.
Is that versus my Falcons?
Was pretty much.
Yeah, he went
yes,
off.
it was. It was against.
He went off.
As everyone said, Aaron Rodgers playing pissed. I think this will be his last year. He may go next year. I don't think they're serious contenders for the Super Bowl. Green Bay, I'm talking about, because all the hoopla last year and the 49ers completely waxed them, the same as the Minnesota Vikings were this great team and Kirk Cousins was all this. Get them in the playoffs, we waxed them. Sometimes a lot of these teams flatter to deceive. I don't think that's the case at the moment with Green Bay, but Rodgers is carrying that team. The defense isn't that great, but they have their moments. But again, and Pete will tell you, and Carl, if you've been watching, I still think Tampa Bay is all smoke and mirrors. I don't believe they're a contender. Yeah, I don't.
I 100% agree, because I will have to revert back to revert back to last year of the Cleveland Browns. They were running their mouth off all off season and bringing, we got this new player, we got these offensive players, and we're going to do really, really well. What happened? They went 6-10. But I don't think the Bucks are going to stink that badly. I think when I done my NFC edition on my YouTube channel, I had the Saints winning the division, but I had the Bucks getting a wild card spot. I said the Falcons will get at best 8-8. That might be a bit detrimental to what's been
Had
happening.
you been drinking by then?
Oh, the pain, the pain.
And I said Carolina finishing at the bottom of the division, but hey ho. But I just look at, I think the Bucks, they're more controlled than what the Browns were last year. But I still I remember, but Brady is only going to be played till he's 45. So he's got 2 years. So if they don't do it this year, they have to do it next year. Remember, they play the AFC East next year. So
Okay.
Which
Yeah.
I'm just not sold on the Bucks. I'm sorry, I'm just not.
It's taken some time for them to gel together. You know, you put that many new pieces together, it's going to take some time to work it out. But you guys don't believe in Bruce Arians at all, the guy that revitalized Carson Palmer's career and took
if to be honest, they haven't really put in any new pieces apart from swapping the quarterback over. The tight ends are still the same. The receivers are relatively still the same. The running backs are still the same. The O-line, they tooled up with Tristan Wirfs in the draft out of Iowa.
And he got his ass kicked.
Sorry?
And Gronk isn't Gronk.
And now Gronk's...
Right.
No, he's not the same. Gronk's not the same anymore.
He was getting his ass handed to him last week, and I noticed a lot. Even, Tristan Wirfs was getting worked.
He got ruined like 3 or 4 times.
I honestly thought his name could have been Worked, not Worths. He was getting his ass kicked that badly. So thank you very much. I'm here every week, 2:30. Yeah, exactly. I've got to go Green Bay. I just don't. If it gets to a shoot,
come on.
If it gets to a shootout, you still would go with Aaron Rodgers.
If it was the 2 minute warning, and the Bucks had the ball and they were down by 5, I would put my faith in Brady, because how many fourth quarter comebacks has he done over the last 2 decades?
As long as he knows what down it is.
That's
never going to happen again for him.
No.
Bruce Arians. I promise you that will never happen again. Bruce Arians probably hired somebody just to let him know. Like, that's this guy's only job now, probably. Like they're that serious about it.
Did you see how Brady was roasting that lineman because of those false start penalties?
Oh, he was seething. He was absolutely seething.
I've never seen him that animated. If he could have killed him or chucked a Gatorade bucket over his head and smacked him around, he would have done, because he was not happy. So, okay, let's just pick this game and then we're going to get out of it. Pete, who you got?
Green Bay.
Carl?
Packers.
OJ?
I'm going to take the Bucks in this game. But can I share something with y'all real quick? It's in my notes from my TV show.
Yes, bring it.
Go for it.
Okay. And I didn't go online and look up stats and calculate this. I got this from some website, but it's in my notes. Okay, so I believe that whatever team has the better pass rush in this game in particular is the team that's going to win. Check this out. Let me see. Okay, so let me see. When there's pressure, Rodgers has struggled. He's completing only 34.6% of his passes, 9 out of 26, and averaging 6 yards per attempt when under pressure. And his passer rating drops down to just 68.8. When the pocket is clean, when the pocket is clean, passer rating is 141. So it goes from 68.8 to 141. He's completing almost 80% of his passes, whenever he's sitting pretty in a clean 9.4 yards per attempt. So Brady, same thing, right? 69.7% of passes and averaging 7.7 yards per attempt with 12 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions, and a passer rating of 109.8. Under pressure, Brady's completely crumbled. He's completing 43.9% of his passes for 4.6
yards per attempt. Interceptions come whenever he's under pressure. Obviously, that's most quarterbacks. But his passer rating drops down to 47.7 under pressure. So both of these dudes, and it happens with age, right? And Rodgers, probably you give the edge to him, right? Because he's a little bit more mobile. He can scramble. He can extend a play for you or whatever. But, I mean, Tampa's at home. Tom Brady's pissed. I apparently I'm the only person here who loves Bruce Arians. I believe in Bruce. I think this game means more to them than it does to the Packers. And like you said, Godwin's coming back. I just cannot see Tom Brady losing 2 big games in a row. I just don't see it. If it was like a neutral field in a neutral game, I'd probably give the edge to the Packers. But I don't know, man. Something about Brady. Can't wait to see what happens though, and then I can roast all of you.
You just want to lone wolf it, don't you, OJ? That's
hang on, because you haven't heard my pick yet. You haven't heard who I'm picking.
Okay.
Now, do I go with the early OJ lone wolf, or do I take sides with her?
Make the viewers happy, Nick. Make the viewers happy.
Indignity. Hang on. Or do I savor the indignity of having to do a wolf howl very early after a night shift?
Make the world happy.
OJ, lone wolf it, baby.
I'm a lone wolf it all day.
That was excellent. That was excellent.
But before we go,
actually the best
Nick,
one.
Before we go, there's a comment that's come in which I would just be interested to know, being a little Gators fan, is whether OJ is a college football fan, and if you are, whether you are a Georgia Bulldog fan.
Absolutely. So my alma mater is the University of Houston. That's where I went to school at. But I lived in Georgia for a long time. A lot of my friends from high school and stuff went to Georgia. And truth be told, my Houston Cougars, we could go undefeated probably 2 years in a row, and the college playoff committee would never let us in the playoffs, period. They just don't respect our conference. They don't respect our schedule. And half the time I don't respect it either. So I have to have a Power 5 team to root for. And yes, it is the Dogs. Go Dogs.
Yeah.
And they're going to lose today, and it's cool. It's whatever. It's Alabama. They're playing Alabama today. So they're going to lose.
Roll Tide.
That's going to be a
No.
What?
No, y'all don't get to like the Patriots, the 49ers, and the Steelers, 3 teams that have achieved so much greatness and so many Super Bowls and whatnot. And you like the Alabama Crimson Tide? This cannot happen.
I'm not a fan of Bama. I'm not a fan of Bama. I'm a Gators fan. I'm a huge Tim Tebow fan, and that's the reason I support the Gators. Yeah, exactly.
I don't watch college, so
any stadium that has hedges around the pitch deserves to just be crossed off. All taken seriously.
Okay,
I mean,
Swamp.
who has grass hedges?
So does the swamp, but that's another story. Right, listen, we got to get up out of here. Final comments before we close. Pete, any final thoughts?
I just want to say thanks to Carl for joining us today, and especially, obviously, sort of Rachel. I know she had the night shift last night, and very much appreciate you coming on and joining Shank Club NFL today. It's an absolute honour and a privilege. I've got a lot of respect for people like yourself that do what you do, get involved, very knowledgeable, and as a lot of people know, I don't know too much about the game, so to share time with people like you that know loads about the game is very good for me. So thank you very much for coming on and educating me. And sort of telling me a lot more about the game, but I'm still not going to be high on the Bucks, I'm afraid.
All right. Well, can we come back and revisit this and see who had the better picks?
OJ, you're
I like to brag a little bit.
You're always welcome to come back.
Carl, tell people where they can find you. Tell us what channels you're on, all that good stuff.
Unbelievable.
Okay, so my Twitter name is @BritishPat28. My YouTube channel is called 2 Feet and Bounds. There are 2 parts to the channel. One is just basically normal NFL gossip, and the other one, because this is my 3rd year, I've now played NFL fantasy football. My commissioner asked to put the league on the channel, so we've been doing that. We're doing recordings on a Wednesday night, getting them out ready for the weekend. We do try and see what players we should go for, picking the waiver wire, and also for trades. There's been more trades this year than from what I can actually remember. And we also talk about our league as well, how we're doing. There's a lot of slapstick. There's a lot of the term shit posting is actually a pretty it's pretty to point out what my channel is. One question I want to ask Rachel though, because you say you work at ESPN, correct?
Correct.
You must have met the legend himself, Mr. Stephen A. Smith.
I did actually. The last time I saw him was, I think it was the last time the Houston Rockets basketball team was in the Western Conference Finals. So that was, I have the worst memory ever. But I know it was a couple of years ago. But yeah, so he covers the finals or whatever. And so he's bouncing back and forth between Houston and probably, it had to have been Golden State at the time. And so he does this TV show like remotely in the mornings or whatever, and then at night he covers the basketball games. But in the middle of the day, he hosts a national radio show. And because we are an ESPN radio station here in Houston, he would do all of his radio shows from our station. He would use up one of the spare rooms. So I will tell you this about that guy. First of all, he is the most nice, well-mannered. He is so calm. His like demeanor is like calm whenever he speaks. When he walked in, first, he's tall as hell. I didn't realize he was so tall, but he used to play college basketball. His suit, like, I don't know what type of suit it was, but you can just tell by looking at it that shit's expensive. Like, it smells expensive. And I think at the time he had just got paid, like, the new deal from ESPN, like $10 million. But that guy, you know, he screams and yells on TV and whatever. That dude is so freaking nice and well-mannered in person. It blew my mind. But I have nothing but kind things to say about him. He sent me and a group of the interns at our station to a game, to the Western Conference Finals game. He's so nice.
Excellent. That's good. One fact I'd like to put out there. A couple of years ago, when the Ravens played the Chargers in the wild card round, if Pete, you probably get this. So on Sky Sports, then they have tweets that come up saying comments on how the game's going, this, that, and the other. There was a tweet that got put out saying it looks like the Chargers defense have finally worked out Lamar Jackson. Are they going to start changing their plans, or are they going to continue to do as they are? And Jeff Reinbold, who was actually going to be on your show at 7:00 tonight, turned around and said, "No, it is far too early." What happened in that game? The Chargers completely shut Lamar Jackson down, and they ended up going to play us. That tweet was by me and my old account.
What?
That was by me and my old account.
Oh, that's good, man. I'm gonna miss not seeing Jeff tonight. I haven't caught up with him for a little while. So, Nick, can you make sure you say hello to Coach for me tonight, mate? Unmute yourself, you mug.
You mug.
Shut up. Less of that. I turn my mic off because my little pooch down here is starting to get a bit restless, and she starts talking to me and probably speaks a lot more sense than me, so I have to mute a lot more. Rachel, before I do the final closing statement, let everybody know where your show is, where they can hear you, what your Twitter handle and all that good stuff is.
Yeah, my social media handle and everything, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff is at GameDayOJ. And you can hear me on ESPN 97.5, also ESPN 92.5 here in Houston, but obviously it can be listened to from anywhere. Can live stream it on ESPN975.com, all the good stuff. It's also on Twitch. We have a Twitch set up live in the studio so you can watch the show. And then I do a YouTube show. It's fantastic. It's fun. It's based around sports betting, but we just talk about football in general with Jeff Reinbold. It's called the Pickswise NFL Show on YouTube or Spotify, and it is doing really, really well. And I had Sean Salisbury on the other week. Then this week we had Nick Ferguson from the Broncos. He was a guest, and each week we're going to have, I heard my boss is talking about Ryan Leaf might come on, which is huge. So yeah, definitely check that out. And yeah, there you go.
Good stuff. Definitely check out Game Day OJ on Twitter. seeing her suffering being a Falcons fan. She needs people on her to console her every week. Did I see you drinking straight out the bottle in one of them pictures last week?
Probably. I don't remember, but yeah, there's plenty of those, and definitely helps me deal with the pain.
Awesome. Well, personally, I want to thank you, Rachel. I want to thank you, Carl, Matt, who obviously was on earlier and hopped off. I want to thank my guy, Jason from Hope in New Jersey. Pete, as always, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, buddy.
I am back in 2 hours, 15 minutes. I don't know how I'm going to do it. If anyone has ever listened to Dave Damashek's podcast that used to be on NFL Network, his producer, who now also produces him on the -3 podcast, he does NFL Fantasy on NFL Network, he's going to be joining me, Eddie Spaghetti, and also Jeff Reinbolt. Everyone in the UK knows Jeff. Obviously, you know Jeff, Rachel. He's making a welcome return. We haven't seen him for a few weeks now. He's back in Hawaii. He's making me put in this extra work. So cheers, Jeff. I really appreciate it because I got nothing better to do on a Saturday night. Actually, I haven't, but don't tell anyone that. Anyway, thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the love, guys. We really appreciate every one of you. From myself, Nick, from Pete, from Carl, from Rachel, Matt, and Jason. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wear those masks, and don't forget, if you ever need to reach out because you're not feeling it because of your mental health, we're all here for you. So take it careful, everyone, and we'll see you soon. This is the Shank Club, and we are out of here. Peace.